You guys have been seeing dominate in the land of Dawn, and today we got some funny questions to kind of ask them as we progress through the MSC. First of all, congratulations for making it here, guys. I hope to see you do well in the wild card phase. These questions are going to catch you off guard. They're not the normal type of questions you're used to hearing, but let's see what your answers are. If there was a zombie apocalypse and one player lasted on your team as the last one alive, who would it be?
Bence net
Kazı.
Şili kalır.
Kazı bilmiyorum. Ben Şili diyorum.
Bence Şili kalır.
Kanka bence ben olurdum, kaçardım.
Sen direkt ölüyordun.
Şili'nin kalır.
Tamam bir karar
Ben bir
ver.
karar veririm.
Tamam ben
Kazı.
Şili'den yanım.
Kazı. Ben de kazı diyorum. Kazı.
Kazu?
Yeah.
Why?
Niye bir şey
Because he can always escape from team fights.
All right, next question. North America, proud to be here as a video host, content creator, be able to interview some of your favorite players and see what they like to do behind the scenes. We're going to be talking to all the hottest prospects all the way out from multiple different regions, so get ready because I'm definitely going to expect some surprises. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with S2G, all the way out from Turkey, a team that you guys have been seeing dominate in the land of Dawn, and today we got some funny questions to kind of ask them as we progress through the MSC. First of all, congratulations for making it here, guys. I hope to see you do well in the wild card phase. These questions are going to catch you off guard. They're not the normal type of questions you're used to hearing, but let's see what your answers are. If there was a zombie apocalypse and one player lasted on your team as the last one alive, who would it be?
Kazı. Bence net
Kazı.
Şili kalır.
Kazı bilmiyorum. Ben Şili diyorum.
Bence Şili kalır.
Kanka bence ben olurdum, kaçardım.
Sen direkt ölüyordun.
Şili'nin kalır.
Tamam bir karar
Ben bir
ver.
karar veririm.
Tamam ben Şili'den yanım.
Kazı. Ben de kazı diyorum. Kazı.
Kazu?
Yeah.
Why?
Niye bir şey
Because he can always escape from team fights.
All right, next question. If you could be a fly on a wall, what wall would you want to be on? Where? Anywhere in the world.
Madrid.
Madrid. Senin?
Mardin.
Mardin.
Mardin. Turkey City. Mardin.
Also Mardin.
Okay, if you could be a fly on any team room's wall to listen to information, what team for MSC would you be in?
AP Biren.
Oh, AP Bren?
Liquid
Yes.
Echo.
Liquid Echo?
Yeah.
AP Biren.
AP Bren?
Bren.
Bren?
AP Bren.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. S2G guys, good luck in the wild cards. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Entity 7, Fury to be specifically, and the whole team behind him. And I got a couple of questions I want to ask you. Number one, if your team had a theme song behind them, what would the song be? Oh, okay, Dookie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One moment. Yeah.
Is this true? Good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. All right. Next question. If your team all had one superpower, you had to share the superpower, what would it be?
Superhéroe y que tenga el poder inútil. ¿Cómo se llama este que se hace chiquito? Ant-Man. Yeah, Ant-Man.
Ant-Man? Oh, really? That's a interesting. Why Ant-Man?
Muy inútil. O sea, es muy inútil que sea chiquito. Tenga nada.
Pero pega igual. Pero para qué?
O sea, ¿para qué lo usaría? Ah, no, entonces. No, lo cambio.
It's too late. Ant-Man it is. Ant-Man it is. If you could choose one team out here in MSC and use their talent as your own, what team would you choose?
Onyx. Yeah, Onyx.
Nice. Giving some credit out there to Indonesia and the King of the Skies. All right. Well, guys, good luck in the wild cards. Looking forward to seeing y'all compete out here in MSC 2024. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the team all the way out from EECA. You've seen them compete up against Team Spirit. That's right, Brute Force is in the building. And today we have two special guests to interview with some amazing questions. To my right, we have Mashiro. And then also to my left, we have Kojik. How you guys doing today?
Все хорошо.
Все прекрасно.
And that would mean good if I had to translate it myself. Now, I have some interesting questions to ask you guys. Number one, if you had one food to eat for the rest of your life and you couldn't eat anything else but that, what would it be?
Скажи, я не знаю. Пускай макароны будут.
Spaghetti. That's a good answer. You can do a lot with spaghetti. All right, and then for your question, if you were handcuffed to one teammate on your team for a whole month, who would you choose?
Marbon.
Arbone. Okay, and if you had to choose one for Kojik, who would it be?
Fangor.
Angor. And if you had to choose one for Mashiro, who would it be?
Fangor.
Oh, maybe we should have asked Fangor. Well, guys, you've had an amazing journey, and you're just getting started out here in the wild card stage, so good luck on competing against these teams. Now, my last question to you guys is, who are you most excited to go up against?
Против РРК.
Oh, back RQ Akira, huh? Okay, that'll be a good one too. So, guys, definitely stay tuned. They're ready than ever, Brute Force, to step up to the stage for that $3 million cash prize. All right, guys, we are here at MSC 2024, and today we have a special team. You've seen them compete in Mekong. That's right, Zeno is in the building. As you see them stacked out, a powerhouse team ready for the wild cards. And I got some spicy questions to go ahead and ask them. So we're going to go ahead and start those off. First off, welcome to Saudi Arabia. How do you guys feel about being a part of the wild card stage?
Excited.
Excited. Okay. Well, what team are you guys looking most forward to facing in the wild cards?
In this group, for me, it's probably KBG.
KBG?
Yes.
KBG? Everybody KBG? Okay. Awesome. Let's switch it up a little bit. If you guys had to pick one animal and you could only use that animal's sounds to communicate in game, what would it be?
For me, it would be a dog.
Dog. You guys can't use the same answers.
Well,
Wait, what's the question again?
If you can only use that animal sound.
a cat.
Cat.
Chicken.
Chicken. Oh, that would be a fun one to see. All right.
Me.
There's a sheep. All right, your turn.
Cow.
A cow. Okay. All right.
A duck.
Duck and
Dolphin.
a dolphin. All right, and then my last question, I'll lead this one to you. If you had one word to describe your team, what would it be?
Playful.
Playful. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Zeno. You've seen them in Mekong, and now you're going to see them in the wild card stage. Guys, good luck on your journey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with T2K out here in MSC 2024. And today we got some amazing questions right before the wild card stage. Starting off with, how you guys doing today?
Great.
Great. You guys would describe your team in one word, what would it be?
I feel like we're pretty strong.
Strong. Okay.
Learning.
Learning. I like it.
Describe. One word describe our team.
Going strong.
Strong. Okay.
The dark horse.
The dark horse. Ooh, that's a good one. You got
Support team.
support team? Okay. Team support. Okay. All right. Well, guys, out here in MSC 2024, there's a lot of teams that you're going to be going up against. Who are you most excited to face?
Probably Zon and Udil
Oh, okay.
from HomeBois.
HomeBois. You have a team?
HomeBois.
HomeBois. Okay. If you guys could switch your talent with one team, any team here, and take it for your own, who would it be?
Onyx.
Onyx. I get that a lot. Everybody wants to take Onyx skill. Well, you guys might have the chance to face them. Okay, guys. Through MSC 2024, if you're able to make that first place and get that $1 million cash prize, what would you spend it on?
Sports car.
Sports car. Oh, okay. All right.
Save it for future.
Save it for the future. Smart man. Smart.
Probably buy a house.
Buy a house. I like it.
Spend some and invest some.
Spend some and invest some.
I would support my family.
Family man. I love it.
Buy a house too.
My house too. What about a team house? Hey, there you go. Well, guys, good luck in the wild cards. I look forward to seeing you guys compete in MSC 2024, and thank you so much for your time. We are back here at MSC 2024 with an amazing team all the way out from Mongolia, IHC, in the building. And right now, I have the full team here ready for some questions. Eisen to lead the way. How you guys feeling about competing in the wild cards?
So excited.
Excited? It sound excited. How have you guys been training? Have you been scrimming?
Here?
Yeah.
We are not scrimming yet. Like, we are just going to the ranked. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, rank games. How's that been in Saudi Arabia?
Like, that's fine. But compared to Philippines, like, it's a little bit easy for us.
What team are you looking most forward to facing in the wild cards?
HomeBois.
HomeBois. Oh, that'll be a good one. IHC versus HomeBois. The world has been asking for that match, and I can't wait to see it myself. What player, if there's one player on your team, would you say would be able to carry you guys through a game? Who would be the carry?
Vivex.
Vivex. Okay, if there's one player who fed through the game, who would it be?
I don't. We just play aggressive and play safe at the same time.
Okay, I like that. Now, if you guys could trade your talent with one team, if you could take their skill and make it your own, any team out here in MSC 2024, who would it be?
Onyx.
Everybody says Onyx. Wow, that's a major surprise today. Well, guys, I'm excited to see y'all compete. If you guys do place first place for that $1 million cash prize, what would you spend the money on?
To invest or saving.
Oh,
I would save the money.
save the money. Smart. $1 million.
I don't think.
Save it. If you don't know, save it. That's what I would do.
I would open my restaurant,
Oh, a restaurant. What kind of restaurant?
like with good food.
So you're a cook. You cook? Nice. Okay, so if there was a chef on the team, I guess we know who that would be, huh? Okay, and what about you? If you had $1 million from winning this cash prize for MSC 2024 first place, what would you spend it on?
For me, I'm not thinking about the money. I'm thinking about the we should win. We should win first. Yeah, like I'm thinking about win.
Oh, I like it. His mind's in the right place. And last but not least, what would you spend your $1 million cash prize on?
Maybe travel.
Travel. Where would be the first place you'd go?
Japan.
Japan? Do you know, like, specifically where?
No.
Tokyo?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is IHC. I appreciate you guys taking your time with us today. Good luck in the wild cards, and I can't wait to see you guys face off against, hopefully, HomeBois and see which way that goes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with ChezyGaming all the way out from China, ready to dominate in the wild cards for MSC 2024. We got some spicy questions to ask them before they step into the land of dawn. Number one, how are you guys feeling about stepping into a wild card? How do you feel about being here in Saudi Arabia?
For me, In wildcard, just normal because this may second time
Second time.
in wildcard.
Oh, confident. Okay, if you guys had one word to describe your team, what would that be?
Strong.
团结
Teamwork. Okay.
Cool. So cool. Yeah, very strong and cool.
Very strong. Okay. I'm gonna ask you a question. If you guys won $1 million in first place for MSC 2024, what would you spend it on?
I will give my teammate Lombo.
What the?
Whoa. Wow. Very generous. How about you?
I will buy a car.
Buy a car. Any sports car?
什么
Fast car?
Yeah.
All right. And you?
跟着队友一起出去玩。
Wow, very team oriented. I love to see it. Keep best gaming. Guys, I got a big question for y'all. So you guys are out in China. Now you don't have as much heroes available to you like you do out here. How have you guys been training? Are you guys ready to compete with the additional heroes on the playing field?
Yes. We are ready to fight.
You are ready to fight. Yeah, I always say you guys have like the best story to be able to face through the wild cards because you have the hardest challenge of having to master so many heroes in such a short amount of time. So guys, good luck on your journey. We're looking forward to seeing you guys compete in the wild cards and definitely go the distance in the land of Dawn.
And we're coming at you live from Riyadh here for the grand final of the MSC 2024 wildcard stage at the EWC, the Esports World Cup. And it's come down to this after 2 fast days of action-packed games. We have 2 teams that went 3-0, and they found themselves in the grand final. What is up, guys? I'm Naisu, joined here on the desk with Mirko this time around. Mirko, it's been a minute, man.
It's been a minute. According to the building, right? A minute to the building is like a few days, a few weeks, I feel. And yeah, it's been a minute, according to your time. You know, for me, it's been, I think, a full week since we've last casted together. But yeah, glad to be back on the desk together with you to bring you guys the grand finals. Like you mentioned, both of these teams were undefeated in their groups. Group A, Group B. I would say, though, when it comes to the strength level of both these groups, we've had a fair share of, different comments, different opinions on Group A, Group B. It should be a little bit easier for Group A, should be a little bit harder, but I think even that was crushed, that expectation in the group stages.
Yeah, the group stages, and as you guys have been seeing too, again, a big shout out to ROG, the official phone for MSC, the entirety of it. The ROG 8, by the way, it's a great phone, and the teams have been getting adjusted to them, of course, and we've seen now some of them getting 3-0 in the group stage, like you mentioned, both Entity 7 and HomeBois. And, I feel like as kind of things fell into place from day 1 to day 2, there were some surprises along the way. I know you had the morning shift with our good LaFell over there, but, was there anything that really stuck out with you from the groups?
Unfortunately, for me particularly, I think for Group B, Group A, it's a bit different. For Group A, it's definitely got to be the disappointing run of the favorites of Group A, which is S2G. But for Group B, it was the Dark Horses, who were able to exceed a lot of our expectations in T2K.
Yeah, it definitely was. That's just how the groups were, unfortunately. But we do get those 2 teams going the distance, 3-0. And this is now their final fight to see the world, because this... I know we've seen all these best of 1, so finally we get this best of 5 for the grand final.
Finally, dude.
And I think that's going to add an interesting dynamic so far from what you guys have been seeing in best of 1s because, hey, it's been brutal, it's been legendary, it's been simple. And, with that being said, as they get ready for the best of 5 ahead of them, whoever comes out on top is going to be joining the rest of the teams for the group stages. And, it's pretty exciting because this morning alone, we got to see some of the teams rolling in already, you know, arriving here in Riyadh, of course, and it's good to see. I feel like there's a lot of excitement in the air, especially waiting for those group stages to start here. We're taking a look at these intros as well, once again, for Entity 7. These guys, man, I would say have been really impressive up to the point in their Group A where they managed to get to. And, you know, as we look at the lineup one more time, it's Marquinhos, Hyde on Bush, Chan, Fury, and Irwin. And really, Marquinhos in his own right has really impressed me from the last time we saw him in the last wild card last year. And then everybody here on this roster really pulling things together for the whole group. Really impressed, even with Hyde on Bush's picks in the jungle, man. You know,
the Dairoth?
The Dairoth jungle. Not many teams do that right now.
No, not at all. And on the other side, we're technically seeing a safer version of the HomeBois because actually in MPL Malaysia, if you guys were following MPL Malaysia, this was a team that you guys would look to go in, especially after they've won like 2 games in the series, to go and pick up something like a Leomore or something crazy, something bombastic. But here around in the wild card, we don't really see that too much. We're seeing HomeBois play a bit more safer. Maybe it's the addition of Coach Jeff into the lineup, making it just a bit more disciplined with the team.
Yep, and we're going to take a look again at the lineup here. It's Sapat, Chibi, Udil, Nets, and Zorn. I know yesterday, if you guys were watching with us yesterday, we saw the kind of swap between Zorn and Mal fitting in. And I don't know if we're going to see kind of that happen throughout the best-of-5 series, but either way, whether it's Zorn, whether it's Mal that does step in, it looks like HomeBois, you know, and something that can be said is they really like to... They really like to fight, you know, and they kind of have this interesting play style. I know you mentioned being bombastic and how they kind of rotate around the map, the picks they pick up. But I would say, man, we're just in a good area right now. I know we've kind of talked about this even leading into the wildcard stages. It's refreshing to see some of the picks. I didn't even think we'd see a Zask. We saw him yesterday.
A Zask, not only did we see a Zask, but we saw the Zask win, right? Because Bobby, he was able to pop off on that Zask, dealing 50,000 damage in what, like the 9th minute mark, I think it was. It was crazy, without even the Holy Crystal. So the fact that some of these changes have happened to the game, you know, obviously the Sky Piercer also getting nerfed. We have seen some changes, some new heroes as well. Well, a new hero that we'll be getting at very, very soon. But speaking of these two teams, right, for HomeBois, for Entity 7, HomeBois, they're more of an aggressive team that wants to take control in the early stage, and it's really all about getting these kills and winning out in the team fights. And I think for now, in the meta, that does fit the playstyle. I mean, it's the better playstyle to have,
think so?
I would say. Because when you go for the neutral objectives, yeah, it's cool and all. You have a very good advantage. You go for an early game lead, you can get that, especially with XP, with the turtle control. But the Lord control is a bit tougher to do. You can't do those Lord dances anymore, you know, with the changes. You get a lot of damage placed on you, and teams like HomeBois, they actually utilize the Lord to punish you. You take the Lord first, go ahead, you know? Try it. Try taking that true damage after 10 seconds, bro.
So this is coming from someone who before claimed that he's an LDE.
I'm an LDE, but right now, it doesn't seem like anyone can LDE.
Well, by the way, LD means Lord Dance Enjoyer. So now I don't know how you guys feel if you're enjoying the Lord Dances. We'll find out. But also, real quick, let's take a look at the recap once again of the format for MSC.
Welcome, Warriors, to the grandest stage of them all, the Esports World Cup in Riyadh. Here, legends are made and champions rise from the ashes of battle. Last year, we witnessed the meteoric rise of Fnatic Onyx from Indonesia as they claimed the MSC 2023 championship. Their impeccable strategy and relentless drive crowned them champions, but the story didn't end there. At the M5 Championship, Fnatic Onyx faced their toughest challenge yet, clashing with the mighty Falcons AP Bren from the Philippines. In an epic showdown, Falcons AP Bren emerged victorious with a nail-biting 4-3 victory, etching their name in history once again. Now, the question on everyone's mind, can Fnatic Onyx defend their MSC champion title? Or will the M5 champions, Falcons AP Bren, continue their reign of dominance? This year, the stakes are higher than ever as teams from around the world converge in Riyadh for a chance at glory. 3 weeks, 3 stages, 1 ultimate champion. Let's dive into the battlegrounds. First stage, the wildcard stage. 8 teams, 2 groups, 1 shot at glory. In this high-stakes round robin, every match is a best of 1, where victory and defeat hang by a thread. The top team from each group will face off in an epic best-of-5 decider match. The winner moves on, the loser goes home. Simple, brutal, Legendary. Stage 2, the group stage. 16 teams, 4 groups, battle-hardened and ready for war. This is where champions are forged. Each team faces off in a series of 2 matches. It's a marathon, not a sprint, where every point counts. If a tie breaks out, a sudden death of best of 1 will decide their fate. The top 2 teams of each group advance to the playoffs. Lastly, the knockout stage. 8 teams, single elimination, no second chances. The quarterfinals and semifinals are grueling best-of-5 matches, testing every ounce of skill and strategy. And the grand finale, a legendary best-of-7 showdown where only the strongest will claim the crown. As the dust settles and the final moments draw near, the stakes have never been higher. Teams from every corner of the globe will battle fiercely in Riyadh, each one driven by the dream of glory. Southeast Asia's dominance is challenged as teams from other regions rise, ready to upset the balance and seize glory for themselves. The stage is set. The Warriors are ready. Who will emerge victorious? Welcome to the Mid-Season Cup 2024 of Esports World Cup in Riyadh, where legends are born and history is made.
The stage is set. The Warriors are ready. Who will be victorious? I don't know, you know?
You sound a whole lot like that voiceover dude that did the,
Yeah.
format video, man.
Yeah, you've been hearing a lot of me, and I feel like you've been seeing a lot of someone that resembles you, man.
Yeah, that reporter dude, right?
The reporter guy.
Probably.
Not Steph Weezy, but,
Yeah, Steph Weezy, reporter guy, the reporter guy, I think he lost his luggage, actually.
He did.
That reporter dude.
I hope he gets it back in time, of course, before the group stage, because that's what's at stake here. For
Exactly.
these 2 teams, of course, for Entity 7 and for HomeBois. And it comes down to really who's able to take this. I feel like the meta that's forming, I don't know if you guys can agree with this, you guys watching in the comment section, how you're feeling about the current meta, because we know that it could change also as well. We saw this last time, right? Because from wildcards last time to the group stage last time when we had M5, they did have some changes. You can take a look at some of the changes we had with the recent patch update, and, it's been interesting. Juicin', by the way, is not going to be available. Is that right?
Say that again?
Juicin'.
Juicin'?
I
think it's supposed to be Juicin'.
Juicin'.
Yeah. Juicin'?
Juicin'?
Close enough, man, right? But we do have the Zask as well. Can you pronounce Zask?
Zask.
There you go. You got it, man. So the attributes have been changed a bit there, but the new effect, I think the biggest change has got to be
huge.
The new effect on the Lord. When aggro, increase physical penetration by 10% per second, and it stacks up to 10 times. So
that's 100%, man.
That's 100%. That's true damage.
Yeah, that hurts.
That's why we were talking earlier about, me being an LDE. I love seeing the Lord dances. I love seeing teams pull off crazy Lord dances, especially with, these forced errors placed on the map with some slow pushes in the bottom side. But it's a bit different now. You're really going to have to try to commit onto it. You have to go for a pickoff, maybe a fight. And I think we did see Brute Force actually try to pull off something of the sorts. They were able to go with Fangor and the Hilda up against T2K. If you guys remember game number 2 yesterday, where they went in for the skirmish in the mid lane to distract them so that they can get the Lord.
And I think that's, even if you guys probably have been testing this out, of course, in your own games, but even the Fredrins, right? The Fredrins, there's a reason why Fredrin, he's not at the top of the ladder anymore. Guys, this is a welcome change, by the way, I feel like for a lot of people, because Fredrin was just first pick priority. It was like 99% contention rate, so he even struggles. But, again, for everybody watching out there, the MSC preview event has now started in-game, so make sure you guys go ahead and join that until July 16. You can grab a 20% discount. This unlocks a ton of stuff for you guys. We also have the MSC support chest going on, the old MSC skins even coming back here, and also just a new skin for Vexana or Valentina, so make sure you guys check that out. We have more, the battles within.
Oh, obviously, and you guys can go and check out the new Soul Vessel skin series, because there are 2 new skins, with Amon getting the Vessel of Deceit and Hanabi, my personal favorite hero, that's a lie, Vessel of Rage, are slated for a stunning reveal. So don't miss out and go and check it out on the 7th of July.
All the Hanabi mains out there are wondering why.
They just,
why, Mirko?
Why? There's a reason we don't see this hero in the competitive stage. It's because it's too good. You see how I played with it? Expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected. The hidden power level of Hanabi. Maybe with the new, the new skin, maybe she does pop up. I feel like at this point, guys, honestly, when we get to the group stage and even the knockout stage for the mid-season cup here, I think we are going to be surprised at some of the picks coming out already. We already have been for the wildcard stage.
Zosk.
And if you guys have been watching other, MLBB competitions around the world leading into this, you know that it is a very different kind of environment that we're used to seeing. And so far from asking people their opinions on the current meta and everything, like they're pretty happy about it. This change was welcomed, I feel like.
Yep.
Maybe for some of you guys out there, the tank mains, and I'm sure the people that had to deal with the Sky Piercer when it was first released weren't too happy. Although we could still probably bump up the cost of Sky Piercer. I'm just saying.
Agree.
1,500 gold. I don't know about.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, we were talking about it like the whole time while we were casting, right, for Sky Piercer. How do we change this item? Because the 6%, they changed it down to 4%, and we did see the impact of that, right? You're not able to get those early kills as fast as you were able to before, but still, the cost on that. Even the Hilda, as a roamer, that actually lost in the early game yesterday by Fangor when he played, again, Brute Force, up against T2K. He lost. He died first blood, and was still able to pick up the Sky Piercer very, very early in the game, utilizing that to 1v1 Yahiko's lane a couple of times and forcing him out of these team fights. So, Sky Piercer, for sure, when these roamers can get that, especially the gold laners, they'll be able to farm and get it maybe in like the first 3-4 minutes, like especially the Roger. I think we've been seeing a lot of Roger work out in the jungle, and it's because of the Sky Piercer.
Yeah.
Not only the Sky Piercer, because we've seen different builds as well, like the War Axe on the Roger, and he's been able to fully utilize that too.
I think it's just interesting, because Sky Piercer is going to be an item of discussion for this whole mid-season cup, I really feel like, and even Roger. But we are going to be taking a very short break, about 2 minutes or so, before we get ready to head into this matchup. So sit tight. We'll be back after this.
The Roger, and he's been able to fully utilize that too.
I think it's just I think it's just some of the top 5 plays, I would say, mostly from also HomeBois there. And, you know, I was hearing the casters in my ear as those plays broke out.
I wasn't.
You
Did we
weren't?
get like different clips there?
You know, I was imagining it.
You were imagining it.
Yeah, I could feel it.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it right earlier as well. Those team fights, we got some legendary calls there with the Maniacs that Yahiko got as well, but we got a comparison for both junglers.
You know, for both of these junglers here, I think this is a good way to put it. As we talked about leading into this, HomeBois so far for a lot of his stats are more towards, you know, these objectives like we mentioned. But I think when you talk about Chibi and HomeBois in general, they just want to fight. They want to duke it out. They want to go for it. You know, they're very aggressive in the playstyle they have, especially when they get a lead. That's something that HomeBois is very well known for. And even looking at the hero pool, I mean, yeah, you saw the Dairoth jungle from HomeBois, you saw the Julians, but so far, it's been about the Rogers and the Lings. You know, I don't know how much this ends up changing as we get further into the mid-season cup, but right now, Roger, Ling seem to be the big priority for any of these teams so far. And so, you know, obviously when you get the snowball going on either of those heroes plus the Warcry emblem, that really helps the snowball potential. And that's why you also saw earlier the average time for HomeBois was
here.
like, I think this is a good minutes. I think it was
13 minutes compared to 19 minutes for E7. So already there, it's a little bit different. For E7, they really like to go with maybe 13 minutes compared to 19 minutes. But in the goal lane, E7, so already there, it's a little bit scales up to the later stage. Meanwhile, for goal, it's been maybe 13 minutes compared to 19 minutes. For goal lane, E7, so already there, it's a little bit scales up to the later stage. Meanwhile, for goal, it's been 5 minutes compared to 19 minutes. For goal lane, E7,
Take a look at the video here to lead us into the draft. We see what our let's find out. Take a look at the video. And here we go, ready for this draft. I thought we were going to get some insights on the that well-known reporter that we have seen many times, but leading us into this team, also we got the ROG ping test happen here. You got to just watch as they get to use these amazing phones, the ROG 8 that's powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 mobile platform. Asus ROG is the official gaming phone of MSC 2024. And, you know, I've had the chance to go ahead and play on these amazing devices, and I will say that I feel like I get a little bit better, you know, just playing on that ROG phone. And, you know, as we get ready for the draft, I think going back to the point that we were talking about here, man, is the way things are falling into place, jungle-wise, jungle pick-wise, even though I was saying we see a lot of Roger, we see a lot of Ling pop up, and those are the assassins right now being locked in. There's still a lot of room for versatility, I think. And so far, what we've seen teams do is pick up at least the Roger early on because it's flexible. So I think it's still the same sense of when we had the previous patch where you always had one pick that could possibly be flexed. You know, if that was flexed into the Roam, if that was flexed into the XP. I mean, think about when Arlott first came out.
Yep.
He went to like 4 different lanes, you know? So right now with Roger, he's usually picked up and you decide, is it going to the gold lane? Is it going to the jungle? We'll find out, though, as we jump into the draft here for game number 1 in the best of 5 here for the grand final of the wild card. And so HomeBois will be on this blue side. We got E7 on the red. And we'll have to see, too. I think some of the bans that we can expect are still going to be similar. You know, the Luyi, the Chip is banned out. Both of them come through. I'm wondering if teams still want to actually also ban some of the XP lanes, which is funny because so far on the XP lane, man, it's really been just Terizla and Yuzhong being mostly prioritized. Mozkov ban comes out, which even despite the nerf, if you will, from Mozkov, he's still quite devastating in a lot of these lineups.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like a nerf, right? Especially considering, you know, the win rate on this hero. I think it's still sitting at like an 80% win rate despite the changes. And What's surprising is I feel like for the damage, especially in the later stage of the game, once you have that power spike, it makes sense. You kind of expect that from a Moskov. But what you don't expect is for the Moskov to actually dominate in these lane matchups. I think it was day one where we got to see the Roger versus the Moskov a couple of times. I think it was S2G versus KBG, and then we had a couple other games with Fury as well on that Moskov. And the Moskov, for some reason, was always able to get the lane dominance there. So the fact that it's manned out away from E7, a team that was able to utilize it so many times in Group A to go and get that 3-0 standing, makes sense. The Harith, though, is also a really good man from E7 towards Nets, but it's kind of different, this Harith.
Yeah.
While we're talking about, Moskov receiving some of the nerfs, Harith wasn't really, like, nerfed to the ground.
Yeah, to the ground, yeah.
It was just, like, a small little adjustment, but we're seeing Harith right now, at least in the wild card, standing at a 0% win rate. That's quite ridiculous, knowing that right before the patch, Harith was the most broken hero in the gold lane. But the Roger follows through as well. We have E7 banning out the Harith, the Chimp, and the Roger. And it's a Valentina respect to Chan, someone who's been able to utilize that versatility on the Valentina to, I would say, just match up against whatever the opposing mid laner wants to offer. But that's going to be an Edith traded in for the first pick Claude for HomeBois.
Yeah, I think, which is good. It's a good take from E7. They take the Edith. We know that HomeBois likes to play this. A lot of teams do, actually. And, we have this fun fact here for you guys as well. Chan has a 100% win rate as Luoyi in 4 games from the MPL Latam Season 1. And it's good that it's banned out, at least for this game, because we've been wondering how well this Luoyi is going to fit into the current meta, the current state of things. And we know that even with the change, even for the diversion, the cooldown on it, you have to be a little more on point. Whoa, this is interesting. The Bane is going to be locked in from E7. We got a glimpse at this before in the past, but now it's a Bane and an Edith locked in here for E7 on that swing back. So that HomeBois wanted the game plan of picking up the Claude, throw it in the gold lane. They saw that the Moskov was already banned. A lot of gold lane options that have popped up. So they've secured themselves the Claude. What else is HomeBois thinking here? Now that they've seen this, Vexana's going to come up. They still have the Minotaur open too. And they go the Ruby instead. Also, great choice here with a lot of CC potential. And really what you have to look out for from HomeBois with this combination is the knockup from the Eternal Guard with the amount of CC that Ruby brings to the table too. So that's something that E7 is going to want to keep in mind in dealing when they have to consider these skirmishes or team fights.
It'll definitely be the disengage power as well for HomeBois, right? Because technically for E7, they want to be looking for these pickoffs and they want to really try to prolong the team fight. With the Edith as well. The Onward, the Earth Shadow, like we mentioned earlier, and most importantly, that's the Primal Wrath that can actually, lock you down, force you into a long team fight. But with the Vexana, with the Ruby, you've set yourself up for a lot of disengage, and whenever E7 want to try to force anything, HomeBois technically get a chance to respond in a way where, all right, we'll either go head-to-head, throw these Eternal Guards, these Terrifies, these Curse Blasts, and the I'm Offended, the combos over to fight, or to say, you know what? We won't take this fight. We're going to go for some trades, and then we'll go after the other neutral objectives, or maybe a trade with the Claude. That's what they're expecting now, but it is going to be a Minotaur pickup as well. So Edith plus the Minotaur.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot. So that also means that the Edith should be going to the XP lane. That does give HomeBois a lot to play with now, with the Ruby still being a flex pick.
I don't know if this is too out of the bounds here, but so far I would say with the wild cards, nothing is. Edith, I'm not sure if they'd actually even flex it into the mid lane. They could actually use it to clear things out. Primal Wrath is pretty devastating as well, depending on how curveball E7 wants this to be. But let's just assume it is Edith going in the XP lane to go ahead and battle that out. They already have great crowd control available to them. And now what I'm wondering and looking forward to from E7 is, what do they want to pick up in that gold lane, and what do they want to pick up in the mid lane? Because against the Vexana here and the Valentina being banned out, this could let us see something new. See something new. Like we said, we've seen Zask so far in the mid lane. There is room for that flexibility and that uniqueness. For E7, though, I feel like on how they want to approach this already, because they have the crowd control pretty much under par, on par. The Bane comes in and has Deadliest Catch, so that is also a layer to it. They actually want to go ahead, and if they can pick up some burst in the mid lane even, this will really round out the damage boxes that they need. And then even in the physical department, right? The gold lane is still something. What do they want to do against a Claude? Top of my head, do they want to possibly pick a Brody? I know we haven't seen too much of a Clint even come out, but I'm wondering if they want to go with a traditional setup. Another combination gold lane we've seen with the Minotaur is the Ixia. Ixia with a Sky Piercer, even with the nerf, could actually end up being pretty devastating depending on how the setups come through with the lineup that E7 has.
I mean, right, it's great. You're seeing all these different heroes like the Ixia, the Brody, to be comboed in together with the Minotaur and the Edith. But just yesterday, it was HomeBois who comboed in the Minotaur together with a Minsathar in the gold lane, dude. So, you know, Lafel called it the King's Fury. Maybe we get a chance to see the King's Fury again. But at this point, you know, Chen really won't be enjoying this game, it seems, because 3 bans, well, 2 bans in the last phase, another 2 bans in the first phase. That makes it a total of 4 bans have been sent by HomeBois to E7's way. This is going to be really tough now. I feel like, especially considering the Vixana's been picked up, it kind of forces E7 to go for the Faramis, which can still be great for them. They have a lot of sustain. Their composition is built to teamfight, and the Faramis will add a lot of more, you know, depth to that kind of lineup.
Maybe Novaria?
But the thing is, right, it'll be one-dimensional. It'll be 2 one-dimensional. They'll only be looking to team fight. And yeah, that's why I feel like the Novaria will be a safer choice. But now considering, you know, some of these assassins are meta again, the Lings, the Nolans even, and that's something that's actually really interesting for HomeBois. The fact that for Chibi, Nolan has been the prio assassin for the longest time for Chibi, and we don't get to see that at all in the wild card, at least for the group stages. Maybe now HomeBois decide to pick it up, but E7, they go for the carry first. They want to try to hide that last pick for Chan. Maybe it is a Novaria, or maybe it is a safer pick like the Faramis, but it does, you know, kind of force them to play it a little bit more one-dimensionally, just going for these team fights and skirmishes all around the map.
I think it's, you also just play the fact that you have a Bane, right? For the most part, he can actually be pretty good when it comes to these objectives. And again, going on the stats that we saw, E7 likes to go for these turtles and these Lords. Yeah, that's going to be a Joy locked in so far for HomeBois and an Akai.
Whoa.
Okay, interesting. We don't see Joy often right now, but you know, this could be an interesting thing. This is going to be the first pick for the wild cards, at least, that we get to see Joy. And so far with that, that's going to have everything fall into place, of course. So this last pick for E7, mid lane options, Novaria is probably the safest, unless N87 wants to bring out a curveball at this point. It is game 1, you know, so if you're going to go ahead and test something out, you could, because you still have that, you know, best of 5 that these teams are going to be duking it out for. With that, too, for HomeBois, the lineup that they have a ton of crowd control themselves. You know, they can lock down just using the Ruby alone and the Eternal Guard, like I talked about. And the damage, I mean, even from a Joy, provides good enough magic damage to work with that pick for the Vexana here. So, wow, Nana. Okay. I wasn't expecting the Nana pick. This is, you know, thinking Novaria would come through, but instead it's going to be the Nana for Chan. So, all right. Interesting pick. This is a whole lot of just, you know, when you land that Deadly Catcher, you get the setup and you just drop down Molina Blitz. Like, you're just going for the big damn zone. That's what you're going for here.
I mean, you said it earlier, right, Isu? If they want to try to utilize game number 1 as kind of like a read or maybe some kind of like experiment game, then yeah, I mean, it's a best of 5. This is the first best of 5 in the wild card stage. They're very used to playing the best of 1s, and maybe because they're used to it, they're acting as if, you know, that game number 1 is more of the best of 1. We're just going to try to utilize this as either a game to try to read out some of the bans that they're prepared for, or to just go with some curveballs like the Nana pick.
Well, wild pick or not, it's the last game, the last match, rather, for the wildcard stage here at the Midseason Cup. One of these teams wants to start off by locking in their slot on the group stage to see the world. Will it be HomeBois? Or will it be Entity 7? Let us know in the chat as well which team you're supporting here, as this is the first game in this best of 5. And they want to get off to a great start, both of these teams. And with the lineups that they have, taking a look at the emblems here, it's more or less the same of, you know, what we're used to seeing anyway. No new emblems being brought up for these lineups. But we'll have to pay attention to some of these early rotations, especially as we see a lot of teams, if they get first blood or let's say even a double kill early on before the first turtle, they tend to really dominate, you know, this early portion of the game. So, you know, with that too, nothing out of the ordinary sticking out for those first items being locked in. Already too, I want to see exactly if any of these lineups decide to utilize the Skypiercer, because we've been talking about that for so long. And, you know, with the difference of even junglers, you know, Bane, actually look how much attention is going to be put on here. They know he's not on that side of the map, but GB also has the support of the team here.
They go for Restream. Whoa, the turf flight connects onto the back, and now it's going to be Chan caught. Still able to flick around as Erwin is able to disengage. Chibi diving deep into enemy lines to pick up first blood, and he gets out as well of that Earth Shatter. Quick pace by HomeBois.
Okay, already off to a good start. Like I was saying, you know, whatever team starts on that first blood route, they're going to go for it and start the momentum building already. So at this point, they get that, they kind of work around this, and leading into the first turtle, the fact that you have that one kill already on Chibi, it gives him this kind of confidence, this advantage that he can work with against HomeBois. So for Entity 7, they're going to have to be able to answer back to that. They don't want to let things get out of hand already this early on, especially with the lineup that HomeBois has. So they'll go ahead and get this kind of under control at this point. Nothing too crazy, but HomeBois will start up this first turtle of the game. They get this area to work with, and now let's see, Entity 7, they want to make their way.
That's up top as well, just using the Blazing Duet. Now it's going to be Defiant. Oh, Suppot looking forward. Dora Wolf King now into the Minutes Fury, knocking two members up. GP is still doing a lot of damage onto Marquinhos, but the deadly catch catches Soren, and now it's going to be HomeBois to take on the kill. A trade on the other side of that turtle pit, as it's just going to be 1-for-1, but HomeBois do get one more trade on. It's the turtle, a neutral objective, and it's a first item, Skypiercer. Chibi, an SPA, a Skypiercer abuser.
He's going to pick that up already. And that was the question I had. You know, which teams would actually be able to utilize the Skypiercer first, or even better? And Chibi picks it up right away. He's already pumping out the damage like we saw earlier against Chen. And now that it is a Skypiercer, it gets a little more scary to work around with. And again, as we get through the Mid-Season Cup, make sure you guys grab your MSC pass. Join in on all the events in-game. And going back to this again, you know, first items, nothing too crazy just yet. It's only that Skypiercer.
Oh, Udo flickers forward, goes for the Terrify, but gets caught by the deadly catch. The Molina Blitz almost takes them down, forcing Zorn to go for the heavy spin. It's a good Eternal Guard to knock two members up, but there are no kills traded. Not here in the third minute. Already both teams, though, showing how much action they can provide on the map.
I was surprised that amount of damage that come through. Was that just all the deadliest catch that actually pumped out the damage? That's scary.
I think Molina as well. I think it was a boomerang,
Was it the boomerang? Okay. I mean, yeah, Chan's Molina Blitz is down. So, I mean, that was just a surprising amount of burst damage. So, even given how HomeBois started this, Entity 7 looks like they have enough in the tank to go ahead and fight. First item going to be locked in for HomeBois. Does get that Hunter Strike now available. You can see Chibi's doing a pretty good job at just kind of farming and staying a little bit ahead in terms of XP against HomeBois. And I think the big thing about this, Zorn should be fine from this. Yeah, he's just going to poke this in and out. And HomeBois there. The thing I want to see is once these objectives, these objective fights happen, Entity 7 in this position they're in can actually contest this. I know they're down a couple thousand gold, but you already got a glimpse of the amount of damage, and they have the setup potential with the Minotaur, with the Edith, that they can play around. First item also going to be picked up here now by Fury, the Corrosion Scythe. Still going to stay on that bottom side, so it's just a constant 1v1 with the gold laners as they battle it out. But it's going to be on 4-on-4 eventually. I mean, neither team wants to really start this up. It's not the turtle, by the way, that has that 10% penetration. But, oh, there's a heavy spin.
Good pin down by Zorn now. The team follows it up. Minutes Fury going to be able to knock three members up as Marquinhos able to flicker out with Primal Wrath now. Deadly catch popped up. Not able to connect now as a Molina Blitz gets rid of Zorn's HP bar, but Chibi is still able to win out the Retribution up against HomeBois, who was around the turtle. Zorn getting out too. And HomeBois are just playing it very clean. Nets in the mid lane. We'll have to respect the Molina. Placed down by Fury, but Chibi dirty there as well. Look for damage with the help of the Blazing Duet. Dives under the turret and goes for the kills. Now one last shot with the electrifying beats, but Chan will have Erwin to back him up. Chibi will go for the recall. Jumping back in. That's a very low Chan who's forced to pop into Molina again. Just in case Chibi dives in.
Just in case. I mean, sometimes you're like, man, this Joy, where is she going to go to? And I think at this point, you know, what you're looking here from the team fights is really how HomeBois is able to go in, get the objective, and then disengage. That's kind of what the usage is right now from Udil, using that Eternal Guard. Sometimes it's just for the defensive peel. Oh, there's Conceal.
Heavy spin, no Purify. Fury is going to be pinned down. And Udil takes the kill with a Curse Blast. Now Chibi diving under the turret, hide on bush, able to disengage with the deadly catch. Chibi going to be caught in a tough spot now. But yeah, those dashes, easy reset for Chibi. As HomeBois gets down, and the Eternal Guard gets thrown out by Udil. Getting 2 members knocked up, and you can see how oppressive that Eternal Guard is. Walking up, zoning them away, putting the glowing wand on them. And everyone will have to just take those 2 swings of the sword.
I think this Akai pick, hold on, a lot of damage on Erwin. He's going to be fine, has the heal as well, quite tanky himself. But going back to this, Akai pick is working out really well with the game plan from HomeBois. And sometimes it's really just the timing. Like a lot of this, you're seeing they get the information, they lock in, Purify's not available for Fury, they're shutting him down. You saw that was a fleeting time, now picked up by Zorn. Has the heavy spin even more now.
Yikes.
And yeah, that's a big yikes. It's something tough to deal with. For Entity 7, I'm really trying to look at how can they keep this from going too out of control. They're still maintaining, you know, a 3,000 to 4,000 gold deficit. Zorn, though, again,
gets the pin down. Minus Fury with a flicker, catching them back. Oh, that's good. I'm offended. Catching Chan as well. The Eternal Guard locks Erwin down. The Blaze went now by Nets, dealing a whole lot of damage to the back line. And what back line? That's actually the front line. Curse Blast as Zorn flickers forward, trying to go for the kill. 3 for 1. It's Subpot traded in. Marquinhos can't even get the Earth Shatter down as he gets terrified, and now he's forced to pop in a Primal Rat. Chibi will just collapse on him, and Zorn takes the kill away with the heavy spin.
Okay, well, I asked the question earlier, what can Entity 7 do from keeping this getting out of control?
Oh, no passive. Chibi just walks him down with the electrifying beats. 9-2. It's a massive gold lead for HomeBois.
My goodness, they got I don't know, they got to throw the drum set away or whatever Joy plays music on. Whatever the electrifying beats are, they need to get rid of them because Chibi has been just a destruction all by himself.
You know what Trex would say?
What?
Punch her in the face.
Yes, that's probably what Trex would say. You could do something like that. Right, look at this team fight in the replay. You see this, and then the Nets coming in. This is the nothing but Nets moments where he goes in at the right timing, pops the Blazing Duet, signature pick of his, comes up, cleans up, and then they add a little spice, a little sugar on top of it. They go in under the turret even, and now another fight.
I'm offended into the Eternal Guard. Marquinhos gonna be pinned down before he can even do anything, and look at that, just with a few basic attacks, he gets it. Only a blitz on 2 Nets. That's a good shutdown. His hide on push goes for some damage. Fury picks up the kill. Meanwhile, Chibi gets rid of Erwin around the other side. It's a gold lane in the next speed, traded in for an XP in a roam. So for HomeBois, I think they actually lost out on that trade.
Yeah, this is actually good for Entity 7 to be able to actually get a couple kills that they needed. Also, Fury stayed alive here. He's got at least the Golden Staff now going with that Corrosion Scythe. Needs a little more time to catch up. I mean, he's 2,000 gold behind Nets. So where is Fury going to find that gold? And right now, the answer is in these team fights. You know, he's kind of forced to stay together because what happened earlier. Even if he has the Purify up, there's enough tools from HomeBois to just kind of still lock him down if he's trying to farm up by himself. So he kind of needs to constantly be aware of where he's going to be getting that gold to catch up here. He could be a saving grace for this lineup for Entity 7. Zorn just checking things out here. They might still force a fight. HomeBois loves to do this. Oh, I'm offended. Will not be able to connect on Erwin. So they got this information. Again, we're still 15 seconds away from this Lord to come up here. Entity 7, I wouldn't say they're in a good position to actually contest the first Lord, though.
We got to remember, though, right? If we take a look at the game time, this is HomeBois' territory. This is the 13 minutes that they usually end their games in, the window for HomeBois, you could say. But for Entity 7, if you paid attention to the stats earlier in the head-to-head, they like to take the game a bit longer. And technically, I can see that skirmish being done by them. It's a deadly catch to disengage from the I'm Offended. Chibi just using electrifying beats. Oh, Marquinhos with an Earth Shatter flicker. Trying to go for that catch. But back to the point, for Entity 7, they want to prolong the game. And their composition with the Nana, with the carry, and technically almost everyone in that team, you can go for the late game team fights and they'll be very, very good for you.
Well, their average game time was what, the 19-minute mark. So if they can bring this game number 1 to that point, it'd be better for them. But right now, as the Lord is just going to be easily secured by HomeBois, as has the Turtles previously. Entity 7 will find themselves on the defense. And as we get a glimpse at the items falling into place here, before that, Nets will be fine, it looks like. So again, still time-wise, Entity 7 needing to catch up nearly across the board in every lane in terms of itemization, at least for Chan with a Lightning Truncheon, and then you have the wings there. You know, you have enough damage, actually, with a Molina Blitz to be a threat, especially if you're able to combo it with that Deadliest Catch. You can see there, though, he still needs to climb.
Bro.
Interestingly enough, look at the damage out. I thought he'd be able to do more, but he just hasn't been able to land enough Molina Blitzes or just damage.
Look at Udil, though.
Yeah. Look at Udil's damage, you know? So, again, a little more defensive picked up here. The Flask of the Oasis now for Irwin. They're going to have to defend against this. It is that first Lord. They do use the Deadly Catch to clear it out. They get a Flicker out, too, from Udil. So that, for now, is going to work out. But even Sapat not able to go in unless he pops this Flicker. But so far, it looks like HomeBois will just go ahead and get these turret shields down. And there goes the Eternal Guard.
Yeah, just a little bit of damage now. Oh, onward, Earth Shatter catching Sapat, bringing him back under the turret. Minis Fury as well. Now Ness forced to use a Purify. That's a 2-man pin down, but Arrow's going to be able to flick around. And Marquinhos will be taken out by the electrifying beats of Chibi. Just the 2 XP laners traded here in the 12th minute of the game. That's a BOD, by the way, for Hide on Bush.
I think this is better for Entity 7 if they can just hold it down. Again, they need I would honestly say 6 to 8 minutes. They'll be in a better position to go ahead and deal with HomeBois. But as you're seeing, HomeBois is actually pressing the situation.
Electrifying beats again, Chan.
Okay.
Wasn't able to get that Molina. Wasn't able to take him out under the turret to punish him. And HomeBois just are still playing it slow now.
It's still the question of, like, how do we deal with Chibi? He hasn't died yet. He does that time and time again, goes in, electrifying beats, pops some damage. And, you know, part of it, too, is just dealing enough for then the follow-up to come through from Nets. Like we've seen so far, it's almost like choreography at this point from HomeBois. But Zorn also
doing his thing.
Yeah, doing his thing. He knows there's probably someone over here from Entity 7, so they'll go ahead and just really, for HomeBois, they can't really cap out on anything just yet. Oh, this is interesting, right? Okay. So this is what I was wondering also with Chibi. He does have the Genius Wand, and so I think it works brilliantly. Oh, Zorn.
Heavy spin. The Earth Shatter going to dodge away from with the Battle Mirror image in the back line. Don't let go look at Chibi. Again with the electrifying beast and taking Chan down. Everybody melting. What he just gets deleted in the back. Marquinhos with the Primal Wrath and Fury. These basic attacks that are just so deceiving. That's the carry damage. You don't expect it, and then suddenly all of the hits.
You get punched in the face.
You get punched in the face.
Chibi got punched in the face.
That was a bit more brutal, to be fair. That wasn't like a punch. That was a
kick.
That was okay.
That was a kick in the face. I don't, you know, Chibi,
a head kick.
Yeah, Chibi thought he was okay, and then he's like, "Oh wait, hold on.
What happened?
What happened?" And I was gonna go into the point where he has the Genius Wand, which actually works really well with Udil, and why they can follow up. But man, talk about just a clap back from Entity 7 in that last fight. So with that, I would say Entity 7 is able to get enough kind of confidence in even dancing off with this Lord, because like we mentioned earlier, guys, the Lord gets pretty devastating. Even at this one, the second one of the game, Chibi can't just sit there and deal with it. He's going to have to also rely on these other members from HomeBois to take that front. And if you look at Entity 7, they have a lot more tanky options to hold that Lord, to hold that front side of the Lord if they have to. So for HomeBois, they might find themselves in a bit of a difficult situation where then they have to decide, do we split push? We have a Claude. He's online. Nets has done this time and time again, you know, and on this specific hero. So that's something that ND7 might want to watch out for. Conceal going to be used. Zorn, but not going to be able to find anything. So they go and just might go ahead and set up for this Lord.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what they want to do here, but they got to burst it down. They got to commit to it. If they take too much damage, these members aren't really tanky. And you can see from HomeBois, they're just going to go and shred it down. No problem whatsoever. Chibi even just jumping in. He is half HP though, so I think he has to be careful, and he will just use the electrifying beats for the minion waves. A good Lord take for HomeBois. But Entity 7, it almost feels like they know that they can't go for that. They can't contest it. but they can defend.
They can defend. Actually, their clear is pretty good here, especially because they have a Nana, for instance, who also has the Divine Glaive locked in now. You also have Carry now locked in, itemization-wise, already locked in the DHS, has the Meteor Gold Rose as well. So you have a little more defense to deal with some of the magic damage that's being pumped out, and that's been the main problem for Entity 7 against HomeBois. So they get ready for this Lord to push in. It's going to go ahead and get this charge off. See if they can defend their base.
Oh, heavy spin already used up in the bottom lane as the Eternal Guard gets popped in and just zoned him in the way. TB in the back line just doing some damage. What? Fury assassinated by TB in the back. And now with the Eternal Guard munching on Erwin's HP bar, it will just be them completely wiped out. Everyone except for Chan. And they'll secure game number 1.
My, oh my, on a second Lord. HomeBois said, yep, let's go, and they went, taking out just Fury, one of the main members we were talking about leading into that, to be online and to fight for that defense. Chibi knew the assignment, went for it, and got it. So that gives HomeBois that first step towards the direction of getting that spot in the group stage. Very strong game for them. Again, it took them a little bit longer than their average game time, but as we take a look at the highlights, you saw this joy, this first pick that we're seeing here in the midseason cup for the wildcard stage. It looks like it works out great. You just have to play around it, and then once you transition to mid to late game, you got to be a little more careful, going into the approach of some of these, but Chibi still played this very, very well.
Moment.
Yep, this is where he gets, he gets checked a little bit. Is this? Yeah, that was the damage from Marquinhos, by the way, with the Primal Wrath. So, again, he knew his job. He did it well. And the team follow up. Nets again, too. Nets on this Claude. They didn't have an answer for that, either. So just things really coming together for this game number 1 for HomeBois. Played their play style, played their composition really well. And I'm wondering how Entity 7 will adjust from this. We are going to take a quick break, though, before we get ready for game number 2. Sit tight. We'll be back.
Twists, turns, and a little bit of burns is how I describe Day 2 wildcard for Group B. Full of excitement and full of crowd favorites. But one team stood above the rest, and that is going to be HomeBois, all the way out from MPL Malaysia, Season 13, dominating again in a similar fashion for Group B today in MSC 2024, Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. I have the whole team with me side by side, and man, the world has a lot of questions. First of all, guys, an amazing performance for today, undefeated. Just like Entity 7 for Group A, is definitely going to be a hard match for you guys going forward. But for today, what was your guys' secret to success? How did you remain undefeated?
I think we just trust each other and then focus discipline lah.
Discipline and trust in each other. It definitely showcases in your gameplay. Being undefeated is super hard. Tomorrow is going to be possibly your hardest match so far in MSC 2024. But for today specifically, what team would you say was your hardest that you had to face?
IHC.
Yeah, they were definitely full of some challenges. You guys were a crowd favorite. I asked so many people out here in the venue who would be the #1 team out of Group B, and everybody said HomeBois. So I'm excited to see your performance tomorrow. I got a question for Chibi. I've seen a lot of the Ling gameplay out there. How do you feel about the new patch? Do you feel like it works more in your favor? Do you feel like it's easier for you or harder?
I think it's not easier, not harder, but we need to take time for practice the new patch.
Yeah. Take time for practice on a new patch. It's definitely one of the most challenging things teams have to face, a new patch in a $3 million tournament. The pressure is higher than ever. Speaking of pressure, guys, tomorrow is another day, another story. It's not best of ones no more. It's the decider stage for a seat or a chance to make it into official group stage for MSC 2024. How do you guys feel about your competition in Entity 7?
I think easy. Yeah.
One word, easy. Do you feel the same, Chibi?
No. We just respect the enemy.
Respect the enemy. Well, I love to see it. Both of you guys are undefeated. You guys out of MPL Malaysia, short to SRG. But again, here being kings, dominating, not able to find a loss so far. Same thing with Entity 7. So the world is definitely going to be full of surprises watching for the decider stage to see who will earn that 16th spot. Guys, congratulations again for today. Undefeated, and I look forward to seeing your matches tomorrow.
Thank you.
New adventures bring new challenges. Even as the heat rises, dandruff and grease won't stand a chance. With new Clear Men, powered by triple formula technology. To eliminate dandruff, itch, and grease, gives you 8 hours of freshness and 100% dandruff-free hair. New Clear Men, 0% dandruff, 100% confidence.
And we are back. Once again, welcome to the English Desk. If you're just joining us, I am Naisu, this is Mirko, and we are here for the grand final for the wildcard stage. It's day number 3, and it's HomeBois and Entity 7. HomeBois is now up 1-0 in this best of 5. And I could say, man, after watching that first game, that was pretty tough for Entity 7. I think they have to really fix a lot of things if they want to not get swept here in the series.
Yeah. I think definitely one of the big things that you can take from game number 1 was the fact that Chan was just not comfortable on the Nana pick. Because it was already surprising to us that we see the Nana. Maybe it's a pocket pick, maybe it's something that they want to experiment on. But if you take a look at the entire draft, that was what HomeBois were preparing for.
Yeah.
They wanted him to be on a pick that he's not comfortable on. Sure, the Nana could work. I think in that game particularly, they had a lot of combos that could work. But the thing is, HomeBois, they banned 4 mages. So Chan was on their hit list, at least all the way in the draft. So I think for Entity 7, easy adaptation will be pick the mage in the first phase.
Pick the mage in the first phase, yeah. I think that I agree there. Let us also know what you guys feel and agree with for our broadcast, our production here, of course, for the Mid-Season Cup 2024. You can go ahead and scan that QR code and let us know your constructive feedback for us to improve everything that we can do here as we go through MSC. Again, wildcards after today. We have a couple days break, I think, while all the teams are now flying into Riyadh, and then we get to look forward to the group stage, which is going to be quite interesting, especially depending on which team locks this last slot in here from this matchup. HomeBois is looking pretty good to be that team, though, and I think even when you kind of dissect the game number 1 that they had there, I don't know. I didn't see too many weak points other than it just looked like when they did get, when Chibi got checked, it was more so if we have this lead that we can work with, we have this kind of lineup, we might as well keep putting pressure, because I think that's what the Joy did, man. The Joy was simply for the fact that you had, especially when the Genius Wand was locked in, we already saw how much damage Joy can do early on, but once you get those items locked in, you force yourself into the back of lines, and then you just follow up. Udil, he was just topping damage because by then the magic resistance of Entity 7 was already whittled down, and you follow up with everything that you can with that Vexana. So now looking at this again, Chibi on the Joy pick. That was the first one finally that we got to see Joy picked up here throughout the wildcards. It's been a whole lot of Roger, a whole lot of Ling, and just assassins in general, and the occasional Fredrin. But now you see Joy, and I would say, for a lot of teams that want to play this kind of snowball, let's get the ball rolling early on, Joy is a good quality pick.
I wonder what he sold, by the way, to get that immortality, right? Because I was actually going to mention in the game that it is a very glass cannon build that he went for. But in this game, 16 minutes, so a bit longer than the average duration for HomeBois victories. Usually it's 13 minutes and maybe like 14 max. But E7 were able to bring that out of HomeBois just through making the right decisions, I would say. Because even around the last Lord, I think it would be way riskier to go for the contest over that defense, right? Unfortunately, they weren't able to go and pull off the defense either, but I think they would have been able to had Chan gotten a better pick compared to the Nana in the early phase. So really got to give props to HomeBois here. They did their homework. A lot of people, I think in the group stages, especially in the wildcard, I think have been underestimating all their opponents. So the fact that HomeBois are like, okay, Group A, significantly weaker on paper compared to our group, but we still got to respect them, just like all the other teams here in the wildcard. So they did their homework really well. They targeted Chan, and so far, when Chan doesn't get his pick, it doesn't seem like it's the same E7 that we saw from day 1.
Yeah, definitely. And like we had that fact when we were in the draft for game number 1, he's been a monster on the Luyi pick, so I think that's probably a staple from HomeBois, at least for the draft. They're just going to ban out the Luoyi.
See ya, Luoyi.
Yeah, you gotta wonder what is going to be available for Chan, because we've seen him be a playmaker himself throughout Entity 7's run in their group, and now that they're at this point, they've got to be able to answer some of the pressure that HomeBois is putting. I think any team that goes against a team like HomeBois, and there's a lot of them in the groups waiting, I feel like, you have to really adjust early on, man, because for some reason, well, I know the reason, it's this patch. Things have changed, and you can't have these like slow starts anymore.
You really
can't,
no.
It's all just like fighting, clashing, and even when it comes to those Lord fights, it's the same thing. You know, if you fall so far behind, and right now it feels like even 4,000 gold deficit is tough for some teams to actually go and contest, like when it comes to the Lord.
It feels like, especially when your team is able to get the Sky Piercer very early, that 4,000 gold lead.
That first item, by the way.
That first item for Chibi, this 4,000 gold lead feels more like a 10,000 gold lead before the patch hit. Because the Sky Piercer, I think we got, you know, visual on the stacks as well. I think at that point of the game when we did see Chibi get level 15 on the Joy, he had 30 stacks of that Sky Piercer. So already there at that point, he was executing people very, very easily everywhere around the map, and that's why he was able to just go in with the Immortality, with the Blood Wings. And man, you know, I was actually talking about the nerfs before when Joy got nerfed. You know, the anti-CC no longer there for the electrifying beats. I was like, all right, it's cool, Moonton, that you got rid of the electrifying beats anti-CC, because I think for all of us, we don't really like that. But damage, why did you nerf the damage too? And now after seeing this, okay, this is a nerf Joy, by the way. This is a Joy that can be stopped. And he was unstoppable in that game.
It's still, in a way, it's like a glass cannon, right? But we'll see what adjustments happen here. We are going to be just heading into the draft here in just a bit. So let's go ahead and take a quick little trip to the draft. Okay.
That's a quick little trip.
That is the trip.
For the first time, you know, your quick little trip was actually quick.
Yeah, that was about a second or so.
That was a second? No way. I mean, like, you usually say, you know, that's been a second, and that actually, it's like a day or an hour at least, bro.
Well, you know what? That was less than 10 seconds on my time.
I think that's like my time too. Maybe you've adapted to my time, to the human time building, man.
I'm in the human time zone now, but look at this. Luoyi is actually going to be the staple ban from HomeBois, like we talked about. So that's not happening for Chan. Chan's gonna have to have a different idea, and I think that's how it's solved, Miracle. I think you hit the nail on the head. Just pick up that mage first phase if you're E7, because you get those 2 picks being on the red side. You know, you can just go ahead and play on that advantage, because Nana was not going to work for them. I get too, Nana can provide some pretty good burst damage, but just the overall impact, what are you going to do with the boomerangs, man? You know, like how is that going to work in comparison to what we saw from the Vexana earlier, or a Valentina, for example, if it's not banned out? You know, we might see one of the teams actually ban the Valentina out here still, because it seems like they're going on that focused route on dealing with that. Mozkov might still come up or not. Gold lane so far, I feel like even if we look at the previous game, that gold lane matchup, there's the Mozkov ban. Dealing with nets, you can't let him get the Claude, I feel like. This is probably one of his best picks, if not the best pick for nets to play around with. Before, you know, this has been a minute. Bruno has not popped up here like at all for a lot of teams, but nets also loves that Bruno pick. Does play the Claude though to a T, and that's what we saw here. So I'd love to see E7 if they wanted to go ahead and play, you know, with like trying to get the advantage. Either they ban out a marksman as well, because the Mozkov has been banned here, and that narrows things down a little bit further, or you try to pick up the Claude exchange. Whatever HomeBois is going to give up, then maybe you swing back. You either get the Claude, you get the Roger, and then you lock in the Mage. Because it looks like HomeBois, they might go for the Roger, right? Depending on how these last couple bans go out for the first phase. You saw Harith already take it out here. So we'll see exactly what the HomeBois plan is going to be this time around.
All right, it's going to be the Chip and the Harith band, so the exact same as game number 1. And for HomeBois, if you guys are HomeBois fans, that's great, you know? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That was exactly the banning phase that they used to dominate 7 in the game. But for E7 particularly here, even if they get a pick on the Chan, are they that confident that, you know, giving the Claude over, like you mentioned, to Nets, someone who's been able to perform consistently on the Claude, given over maybe even the Vexana to Udil.
Yeah.
Udil only played played Sana, I believe, in a wild card, and I think for the most part, even back in MPL ID, when he used to play MPL ID, Udil is always like this, dude. If he wins on a pick, he's like, why should I even swap?
Yeah.
He goes on Farsa, wins on Farsa, plays Farsa the entire season. Now it's Sana, so he's definitely found a new favorite there. I'm glad it's new, because I would be pretty surprised if he still wants to play Farsa after playing Farsa the entire. It could work. But it does seem like, he wants to utilize the editor guard more than the feather airstrike now, and wants to have that like leafy boy protecting him in the front. But
feel a little safer,
This is the exact same bans, which I think it should be, because I think Roger would be a bit deadly to leave open, knowing that both and Chibi.
Oh, they banned the Claude.
Oh, the Claude ban comes through, but you leave open the Roger.
This HomeBois just swinging for it.
Oh, the Claude is a great ban. I understand. You mentioned it. It's great on nets, but the thing is, the Roger could be flexed, and both Chibi and nets can play so well. Just yesterday, it was the same kind of build that we saw for the Joy. But yeah, Sky Piercer, 4-axe, endless battle. He didn't even go for the Twin Talker. That's how ahead he was.
Yeah, they're happy with this too. They're smiling about it. You can see that. It's interesting because he's only got a 44% win rate, but that's because he's been flexed. I would say his statistics in the goal lane aren't as good as we've seen them in the jungle, and that'll probably carry over into the group stage. We'll have to see how that Roger changes, because I think one of the things teams really have to like an answer for is dealing with the Roger and dealing with the lanes that have been popping up. This is still going to be a diff. That's a lot in here for E7's first phase. Let's see. Do they go for maybe they lock in here already? Depending on how this goes, because the Edith actually is still it's the same two picks. They go with the bait again.
Okay. They should change their pick. They should change first. Maybe they're gonna look at those first. You got the Roger already. Are you gonna pick up the Vixana again? If you do go to Vixana, okay, we're just seeing. You know what's scary? But that was a good change for HomeBois. They got a better pick than the Claw. They got the Roger. They got Roger. Now have two flex picks, right? In the previous draft, we saw the Claw and then the Vixana, which means that the Vixana and Claw, we know where it's going. Ruby, a bit of a flex now. We get to see the Roger. So now this is more confusing. If E7 go for Minotaur.
Twilight Zone.
Oh man, it'll be very scary. E7 if they go for the Minotaur. I mean, it's good for their combo. I get it, but also you can see the previous round right above there. I just had to, look at it again.
Just
it's
confirm
it was exactly the same. I guess we'll see here if it's going to be a change. Maybe they go for a mid laner. Maybe they even go for a.
Oh,
okay, there you go. There it is. But he wasn't bad. So technically, they could have got Minotaur here, and they could have got Eve, right?
Yeah, they could have. She wasn't banned in the previous game. But you know what? Miracle, this follows what we were saying they should do.
Yeah.
Mage, first phase,
I agree.
Lock it in. All right? Entity 7 has locked it in. Chan's got it, and this is a pick that, he does play. He does like this pick. It does provide that death box potential when you're going into the objectives. The only thing I hope for is that they're able to actually get to that point where they're able to contest against the objectives because of the mere fact that that's a Roger on HomeBois. And if anything is to be said, Roger will snowball the heck out of this game number 2. And looking at this too, a little game fact here before this decider match. Nets 27 had a 27 KDA.
Wow.
It's the highest among all the wildcard players. The second highest is Sapant with a 9.33.
Two HomeBois players.
Two HomeBois at the top of that KDA standing here. Wow, 27 KDA for Nets. And that's what I was saying, at the end of game 1, I was like, man, even if they had an answer for Chibi, you got to have an answer for Nets. Because Nets really is just... Nets, especially when he gets a Claude. So that's why I'm saying, I actually like the fact that Entity 7 decided to go that route, ban out the Claude. It forces Nets on something else. So I'm also wondering what Nets will pick, because he is one of the players that likes to play the Harith in the gold lane, but that's banned out. So we might see him bring up maybe something new for the gold lane, unless this is a flex. Unless the Roger is flexed for Nets in that gold lane. But as we get through this second phase of bans, the Terizla is banned out, the Minotaur, like we mentioned earlier. And, for I think both the teams, this first phase is good. It's locked in. I mean, it's nearly identical, but the Eve I like better than what we saw last time. I think I think a lot of people still need to see the like the value of Eve in the current meta.
That's true.
Because I feel like she could be quite devastating with some of the new items too.
Great poke.
You know, the poke is actually pretty good. The glowing wand could actually provide a lot of value to this lineup going against HomeBois, if that happens to be one of the first few items that is picked up here by Chan. Because, you know, there's a Ruby over there, there's a Roger, and you kind of need to deal with it. The only thing I don't like about Eve, she's stationary.
Yeah.
Like, you are vulnerable in that sense once you set up.
And that's exactly why they banned the Ling, right? Because the Ling would be able to take advantage of how stationary you are, of how you're technically immobile in these skirmishes. You can't be, you know, as flexible as a Valentina, as flexible even as a Lo Yi with the diversions. You can't find those angles, and you don't really have a way to self-peel. Because usually with the heroes like this, you have a way to CC your opponent, right? Even the Farsa, you get the immobilization with the passive. But now with the Grok and the Terizla banned out, they're really trying to stop E7 from bringing up these heroes that can actually lock these members down from HomeBois. Because I think for HomeBois, they want to play similarly to how they played or executed their game plan for game number 1. They want to attack from different angles. They want to utilize their mobility and to make E7 utilize their resources, and then HomeBois comes in again. It's like a layering type of gameplay for HomeBois, baiting out resources and then coming back again later.
Yeah, we'll see if they do that. Also, as we wait for this next pick, I almost would like to see an Arlot picked up here. I think that could work out really well, kind of swooping them into either the deadliest catch or into the real world manipulation. Yeah, you know, it could work out, but Carmilla is going to be the answer for now. So that's the answer for E7. So this means the Carmilla, is this going, where's this going? Is this Rome? Rome Carmilla? It has to be Rome Carmilla, right?
Technically, yeah, it should be Rome because
Bane going to the jungle, Edith going
Edith
XP. Yep. All right.
It is still very one-dimensional, though, right? I mean, if we take a look at game number 1, the main reason, you know, E7 weren't really able to look for anything else except for team fights was this composition, and that's why HomeBois were able to get an overwhelming lead at the start of the game. They utilized their pickoffs, they utilized their mobility, and now we get to see Nets on the carry, so it'll be confirmed the Roger will be going into the jungle. That's the higher win rate of the two jungle/goal lane Rogers that we've seen. And now the last pick for Zorn, or perhaps for Sipbot, is going to be the Mathilda. So Mathilda for Zorn.
Yeah, this is a great last pick here. And it's funny because Mathilda in a way is kind of slept on now, which, you know, she was in this kind of mode where she was banned out constantly previously in the year, but a lot of teams don't want to pick her up as much, but she still provides a lot of value. And this, really, the value that comes from Mathilda with this lineup from HomeBois is the guiding win. Mostly, I'd say the guiding win, allowing the carry to maneuver around a little bit better, because there's a lot of lockdown that could happen from E7 in the form of that deadliest catch. You know, even the Curse of Blood will be able to set things up for Entity 7, despite what they have here for HomeBois. I think you need that mobility, because you already have it. Roger has enough mobility himself. You know, and you can play around that.
Yeah.
You have Eternal Guard to disengage for yourself, so this is really for that carry pick. And here's the Clint that comes through for E7. Interesting. This is, you just look at this lineup.
Mobility versus stand your ground.
Just stand your ground. Post up, fight it out, and hope, too, that, you know, you can make it through. Because I still would say, like, it's almost a similar facet here for E7. They want to get to the late game. Clint can do quite a bit of damage, but he needs time. You know, he's going to get time to get to that high noon status. He's not just firing off early on, you know, and Carry does too, but the whole point of this is, again, Roger is across from you. So, you know, we saw a glimpse of Bane's damage in the previous game. Hopefully they can have even a better time, because he lost a lot of his purple buffs. If you guys lost if you didn't see the breakdown there of buffs, they need to lock that down for him. So, we got the lineups here locked in for both teams, HomeBois and E7. It's about same, but a little bit of diff. Let's head into this game number 2 and find out if Entity 7 can bring this series in the best of 5 to a 1-for-1 as both teams get closer to locking things in for the group stage. And also looking at this, there's a whole lot of quantum charge for Entity 7. Focusing mark, though, too, for Irwin. Look at this already, the pressure from Zorn. I don't think they're going to be able to catch him at all. Take a couple hits, going to be fine.
All right, Warcry, by the way, for Chibi. But this matchup in the gold lane should favor Fury by quite a bit. Marquinhos already with the rotation very early on as well. That would explain why he went for the lane cut very, very early. Udil, though, still with this Vixana. Chibi getting brought back. Erwin is going to be taken out now under the turret like it pounds. And Chibi, he didn't even follow through under the turret. He gets out.
Warcry.
Warcry plus, obviously, man, the like and pounce interaction. Sometimes you follow. Yeah. Sometimes you just deal the damage.
Sometimes you just, somehow you follow him and you're still in the jungle, you know?
It works for them.
It works right there, and this is exactly what we were talking about in the draft, guys. You know, when you get this Roger locked in and somehow, some way you're able to get the lead, which most teams play around this. If you are going to draft a Roger, you look for that play potential early on, and that's exactly what HomeBois did. Good response here from Hide on Bush.
Whoa. An interesting dive into the deadly catch. He goes Zorn, though, provided the guiding wind as the turret fight connects onto the back line with the Curse Blast as well. Hide on Bush, unable to go for the kills. And Chibi, you can see him. He's smelling blood in the water. The Hide on Bush will be able to escape. Under the turret he goes. Sabat canceling the recall. Marquinhos with the onward. Now with the Earth Shatter connecting as well for the turret fight. And the Curse Blast gets rid of him. Rivera, he can even go for the trade. Chibi gonna be locked down. Lycan pounce there together with Chan, picking up that damage and the kill. Now the turtle free for Hide on Bush. He doesn't have the retribution though. And Eternal Guard is already dealing damage. It's gonna be Chan who secures it as the real world revelation locks them down. And Chan secures the double kill. Zorn trying to run away, will be able to do so as he also used the Purify in that skirmish.
And that's what we're talking about from Chan. Locks in this Eve pick first phase and is going to be the
Instant
start
impact.
here. Yes, the huge impact, the difference of the impact here already in comparison to the Nana pick in game number 1. That's what Entity 7 needs. So now that he has these 2 kills, he's going to be locking in that first item a lot sooner, and which will, again, they play around the real-world manipulation. So able to punish HomeBois. You know, HomeBois going for that play, and they were off timing a little bit. They weren't able to get Chibi there when they tried to follow up through that setup. So it was unfortunate for them because then they just ended up overstaying on that side, taking a lot of damage. Entity 7 punishes them and makes a great play. So they'll be able to keep things together. A good item already picked up here for Fury. Gets that Blade of Hepsises locked in. So the Clint, I think one thing you really need to pay attention to is where is that power spike for this lineup from Entity 7. It's already showing that they have a lot of fighting potential early on. You know, and meanwhile, too, Hide on Bush with the deadliest catch, all he has is a Fury Hammer. And he actually does provide quite a bit of damage if they're able to catch them in that real-world manipulation. And now he does lock in the Hunter Strike. So this is already good for Entity 7, much better than the previous game. You know, gold-wise, it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much balanced between both teams. But Entity 7 is really able to keep these early skirmishes.
Okay. Curse the blood
a little fake out there. I feel like that was more of, could something happen here? If not, then they at least got the Curse of Blood out. They might still try to do the same thing on this side of the map.
They're going to be slowed. Good deadly catch by Hide on Bush. And they get 2 big resources. Like you said, man, I think Entity 7 might have to give away this turtle.
And they might have to just go ahead and get that orange buff. But it looks like HomeBois not going to actually fully start it up because they still need Chibi to get his purple. Eternal Guard will be dropped down, but they're just going to kind of deal with this zoning potential right now. Erwin doesn't have the Curse of Blood yet, neither does Hide on Bush have that deadliest catch. So they'll try to play around these timings, waiting for those cooldowns to come up.
Oh, Marquinhos with the Earth Shatter and the Flicker combo connecting on the Chibi with Onward, not connecting, but the Primal Rat does enough damage with that. The catch as well. Chibi's like pounce now caught in the real world manipulation as Hide on Bush gets rid of them. The Curse of Blood on the 2 right into the combo of Hide on Bush. Earth Shatter knocking Udil up, doing some damage. Chan with the Flicker forward, but Udil will respond to that with his own Flicker. Both teams now for Chibi, he was not able to get anything. It's going to be E7. Straight into the tier 1 in the mid lane, taking it away. And this is a good lead for E7.
This is a great lead. I mean, they're up now 2,000 gold against HomeBois, really showing that they control this phase of the game. And meanwhile, this whole time, Fury, the gold lane experience, just chilling in that gold lane, farming up, getting everything that he needs. Does get that turret down now, tier 1 down in the bottom side. So he's going to go ahead and get to rotate and continue to farm up here, because so far he doesn't need to be in these fights, man. Like he's doing his thing, his own time, and Entity 7 is able to just again post up and fight it out. Look at the XP difference this time around, and this answers the question on why the Bane again in the first phase with that Edith. And there's your answer. Really being able to farm up this time around for Hide on Bush. Hasn't died yet. And really, when you look at it, one of the answers to deal with Roger here might be real-world manipulation. You trap him in, you lock him down. The Curse of Blood. There's a lot of these abilities that are working really well against how much mobility Roger has here. And now hopefully they can maintain that, but you see this too, the War Axe is going to be that first item locked in, so it looks like even for Chibi, you know, he wants to be a little bit more cautious and not just going all in on that first Skypiercer build path we sometimes see from the Rogers here in the jungle. So with that right now, HomeBois is going to find themselves working against a minor deficit. And Entity 7, as they get ready for that third turtle, they've already got 2 in their pocket. They can possibly just go ahead and lock all 3 in. And as you see them getting in position here, Turtle's now going to spawn up. Turtle Guard already going to be dropped down.
Marquinhos with the onward onto Sapat with Earthshatter connecting as well. Sapat is unable to go for the escape. Chibi going to be locked down by the real world Malaysian as well. Chibi with Lycan Power, but gets caught by the Primal Wrath of Marquinhos. 3 members of HomeBois taken down, and Entity 7. They collapsed, they got the win. HomeBois can only go for a trade up top.
Entity 7 right now is in full control of this portion of the game. Look at the damage on Zorn. You know, Fury, we were wondering, when would that damage start to show? When would that power spike come through? And I think it's already here, and that is going to make it even more difficult to move around with. That's the Ice Queen wand picked up by Chan. Great initiation that came out through here. Primal Wrath to pick up the kill from Sapat, and then they punish Chibi even further as he was just trying to get his orange buff. So it looks like Entity 7, man, they really had this game plan to get revenge here at Marquinhos.
I'm offended into the knockup of the circling Eagle into the damage, and Marquinhos still able to survive with the Primal Wrath, now dealing some damage back. Nets will be able to take the kill down. Now with the flicker with the Curse of Blood connects on the 3 members, and they can look at the deadly catch. Now with Fury dealing the damage with the grenade bombardment. And they respond to that play, and they capitalize on it. It's only the XP traded in for 2 big members from the side of HomeBois. Chibi walking up again, Hide on Bush. Oh, the bounce of the crab cannon. Did you see all those HP?
Those crabs hurt, man.
Yikes.
That crab cannon is loaded. And like you just saw, the combination that we were talking about even in the draft, real world manipulation with the deadliest catch is able to just do so much damage. They even get the Sea Halberd to kind of work.
Oh, the sun down into the grenade bombardment. He can only go for Lycan Pounce, but then Chan and Fury continue the damage output to take him down under the turret. Zor's looking for a trade with a circling Eagle. Marquinhos pops into Primal Wrath just in time, and he soaks in all that damage. No problem. Now the Sharks running them down. The Crab Cannon nets. Oh, the bounce as Fury takes a turret for free up top, buys the Skypiercer as well. 9 minutes in, and this is an even bigger goal lead that HomeBois had in Game 1.
Yeah, this is Entity 7 from what we saw through their groups, going the distance, 3-0 in all their games, sweeping their group, going against the same for HomeBois as they swept their group. But man, it looks like just Entity 7 very strong in this game number 2. Look at the damage. Look at the amount of damage that this pick, this Bane is doing in the hands of Hide on Bush. Dude. Yeah. It's this Yikes. Is big damn, man. Like, and he's not even fully locked in right now in terms of the items, and so it's really, you're wondering, you know, what can HomeBois now do? They're finding themselves on the opposite end of things. That's already going to be the Lord Security here for Entity 7. And HomeBois, they're going to have to get prepped up and ready. For Nets does pick up the DHS, an endless battle for Chibi now as well.
Wow.
Some of those items still paying, I mean, you could say they could pay value to this lineup for HomeBois, but right now, as you look at the disparity in terms of items, they're having a difficult time fighting. You almost have to rely on them to get the ultimates out from Entity 7, especially the real-world manipulation, but it looks like they might just find themselves on this defense. The Lord making its way up top. Chan now also picks up the glowing wand, so that even helps further dealing with some of the possible shielding and sustainability from HomeBois. as that Sea Helper is already locked in too. There, they go in.
They're in the flank. Meanwhile, Lycan pounds to the backline. Chan's going to be shut down. GB in the midst of it all, going for the team fight now with another Lycan pounds with the Earth Shadow. Will connect. The Primal Route will lock them down to get munched on by the Sharks of the deadly catch. Hide on Bush. Only now does he buy the Sky Piercer. I thought he already had it with how much damage he was doing. Now in the mid lane, base turret. That holy defense already getting procced down, as now it's going to be Fury with the grenade bombardment together with Hide on Bush, munching on the base turret HPs. With the First Lord, they're able to take all three up top of the Lord, down below with the Sharks coming down again onto the base. Udo trying to do some damage to the Curse Blast as well, but Erwin will just walk it forward. 11 minutes, Entity 7.
Where is? They didn't even have a chance to defend. I mean, Hide on Bush was not hiding anywhere. He just goes in, knocks down the base, under the 12-minute mark. Entity 7 came back in game 2 with a vengeance, man.
Wow. Sky Piercer. When he got the Sky Piercer, I was speechless because I thought he already had the Sky Piercer. How was he doing that much damage? This is Bane. No wonder it's first pick, right? Now you really see it. You really get to see it in Marquinhos this game on the Edith. We're sorry for doubting that Edith first pick. Bro.
Yep, we're sorry for doubting these first 2 picks from Entity 7. This one worked well. You know what? I think the biggest change was just the Eve, man.
The Eve, and I would say giving away the Roger instead of the Claude, right? Because for the Roger, I guess for these initiations, you can't disengage instantly like the Claude, so you can't get locked down in the team fights.
Huge value. Yeah, they should be happy about that win because, man, did they come out, and now it's a 1-1 for the series. We're going to be taking a quick short break before we come back. Sit tight.
لحظات البداية عاشت معنا. كنا نحسبها وقت للتسلية بس. نحسبها بس ذكريات.
عبود أعطي أختك اليد يا ولد.
ابتكرنا فيها ابتكارات، وإذا بغينا قلبناها خرافات. كنا نحسبها بس لمة وصحبة وسهرات.
انتبه نو ترى نو.
لكن كنا نشوف عالم ما حد يشوفه.
ليت يشغل وقته بشيء يفيده.
الله عليك على الصوت.
عالم كبر وعاش فينا. عالم الحماس فيه يوصلك كل مرة لحلم أصعب، بس ما يصعب عليك. بارد معك وين ما تروح.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on the English desk here. we're now almost halfway, I would say halfway, depending on how things go, through this grand final against Entity 7 and HomeBois. They're looking to lock in that slot, the last one for the group stages here for the Mid-Season Cup 2024, and it's 1-1. It's even now across the board, and I think for all the people that were thinking it'd be a sweep, that's not happening. Entity 7 with their now, I would say, very key pickups, the Edith, the Bane, ended up playing a part in that game number 2, and they did it in a decisive fashion. It was under the 12-minute mark. So, before we talk more, go ahead and scan that QR code for us. Let us know your feedback for the broadcast here as we go through the MSC 2024. We appreciate it, and we do see your guys' feedback. So thank you guys so much. Now, again, for this matchup, as it's 1-1, one thing's for sure. Roger Jungle was at 100% win rate before this. It's not anymore. He has been... At least he's felt the loss. We saw the struggle, man. Like, this Roger pick did not work as well as we've seen it in the past.
Definitely not.
What was the answer here, Mirko?
I think the answer was just that for E7, they had a way to actually lock him down right as he goes for the like and pounce, right? Because he goes in, once you go in on the Roger, it's really hard to disengage, especially, I mean, technically not even that, right? Because in that game, they had ways to disengage. They had a Mathilda to bring him out constantly, but the fact that they had so much CC, Curse of Blood, the Primal Wrath also to lock you down, but before that, the Earth Shatter.
Yeah.
So many layers on top of that, so much damage, and you mentioned it, the Eve, the real world manipulation that locks you down as well. Inside of that immobility field, you're going to have to blink out, and that's why the Claude was so prio. They prioritized the Eve because they went for the Claude ban already. That blink, no longer there.
I think it was very clutch here to pick up the Eve, and that's kind of what we were looking for. Nana didn't work in game 1, bring out the Eve, hide on Bush here on this Bane pick, now back-to-back. Like I said, he came out with a plan this one because he had a difficult game 1. He actually had good damage in game 1, but he didn't get any time to really even have the purple buffs. He wasn't able to rotate the way that they wanted to because they got so far behind in terms of even that jungle. But this time, hide on Bush was a huge component to this lineup working. And even if you look at the items, he picked up, like Mirko mentioned, that Sky Piercer was later. By the time the game was nearly done, he locked it in. So just with the Hunter Strike, pretty much the Hunter Strike and the BOD, and then he had the Sea Halberd, Deadliest Catch was deadly, man. Mind the pun, it was crazy to see that amount of damage in the real world manipulation, and I think that layered together worked out really well, because what we're talking about is when the Roger is trying to sometimes even avoid getting, some of the damage, they're using that Lycan Pounce, but when it's timed up with a Deadliest Catch, the way that the sharks go through the real world manipulation, the timing is not going to be there. You're going to get caught no matter what, and that's what we saw really shut down and control this lineup from HomeBois. And interestingly enough too, I feel like with that Matilda pick, Zorn wasn't able to play his game. Like, I feel like Zorn is able to be a lot more proactive on some of those tankier, roams
Initiator.
that aren't, initiate with Matilda. You technically can kind of initiate with Circling Eagle, but you're more so there to protect the team by using the Guiding Wind, play it a little more passive on the back front, And so I think that might have to be the adjustment here too for Zorn for Game 3. But I'm wondering, man, is this just going to be the same first 2 picks that we see from Entity 7? Like, are those the game changers, the Edith and the Bane? Or is it going to warrant a possible ban from HomeBois this time?
I think they shouldn't overreact, right? Because that's the thing that E7 did. After game number 1, they didn't overreact. They weren't like, okay, our draft is completely like garbage. You have to completely just put this in the trash bin and go for a completely different way. No, they were like, all right, no, we have things in this draft that could work. We just need to make micro adjustments here and there. Maybe we don't go for the mid lane in the second phase and go for the Minotaur to lock you down. Maybe we go for the Yi first. That's a comfort pick for Chan that can lock you down, and it also adds in as another layer of CC on top of the damage. And you mentioned it, Glowing Wand. Now you can get that down onto any one of the members on the other side. And maybe that's why the Mathilda has really fallen, right?
Yeah.
Usually, at least in the early to mid, you're able to get so much healing, so much sustain to the rest of the team. But because the Glowing Wand now has the NOD effect,
that Necklace of Durance,
and its first item for most mages, you kind of lose out on that sustainability that you were able to dish out back in the day.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm saying, like, even for the mages, I like that some of the shakeup in terms of itemization that is brought through, because that was always a struggle. Even me as a mage main, I love the mage, you know, heroes here, but I always wondered, like, all right, when is the right timing to pick up Necklace of Durance? Because usually I would always go Glowing Wand, Ice Queen Wand. You'd have those, maybe depending on the build. Maybe you want to go Holy Crystal, and that costs a little more now. But now it's perfect, because now that Necklace of Durance is built into the Glowing Wand, and the value of it is huge, and that's what we're seeing here for a lot of these teams utilizing. Yeah, first item, pick it up if you want to. I guess the other variation for first item for most mages might be an enchanted talisman, depending on that hero picked up. But this was great. This is exactly also when we talked about Chan specifically, what he had to do kind of to step up, because yeah, you mentioned it, Marquinhos already having a pretty good game one. It was just unfortunate the way that they got collapsed down on from HomeBois. And so I think this was the proper adjustments. Looking to it, I mean, we didn't even get to see the Clint fully shine. Like, for the majority of the early game to mid-game, like, he was just farming. You know, gold lane experience, farm up, do his thing. And then when he started to approach the base, you could see it with that the grenade bombardments. Like, the damage was there. First item for the Clint was the Blade of Heptases, but he didn't even get to use it because he was just farming. No one wanted to fight with him, you know? And then at the end of the game, like we mentioned, you really saw the impact of the amount of burst potential that came from this lineup from Entity 7. And it's interesting, man. I'm wondering if this Game 3, what kind of adjustments will happen here, because we haven't had a game go past, like, I can't even recall throughout the wildcards. I know we've had maybe a couple 20-minute games, but we haven't had one go that distance.
Yeah.
That 25, 26 onward.
And we've only really seen best of one. So the fact that now we get to see both teams having to adapt to the different circumstances, to the different drafts as well.
The picks,
the compositions, the execution, most importantly. Because I feel like even if, you know, in the draft, E7 had answers to HomeBois' draft.
Yeah.
HomeBois could have done it. HomeBois could have still executed it, but maybe they got overconfident.
We'll see on their confident level here as we head into the draft for game number 3. So we'll find out, you know, what the plan is for them. Let's go head over to the draft.
So my big question now, Naisu, has got to be, how's LaFell feeling, right? Because, man, HomeBois yesterday, he already almost got like a heart attack in the game.
Remember.
He almost threw against T2K.
Is that when the hat came out?
That was when the hat came out. Yeah, like they won, and LaFell was already shaken, you know? His heart was going crazy. Now that the HomeBois have dropped the game, they don't look invincible anymore, not in the wild card. E7.
Yeah. I don't know,
adapt.
I know, by the way, I think, you know, shout out to LaFell, because I think he's watching alongside Trex as they're both on rest day today. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of people came into this, though, Mirko, thinking it might be an easy sweep for HomeBois. Like, I think that was, you know, for some people that might not even know Entity 7 very well, or let's say they missed part of the group stage leading up to this grand final. Some people might even be surprised, whoa, Entity 7 grand final gets HomeBois, and then they're like, wow, now it's a 1-to-1. This is a great thing, though, for Entity 7.
It is.
And just for, you know, the region as a whole, because they're so competitive in their play style. And that's why I was saying before, man, the teams that like to play like this, they really shine on this current patch. Same bans look like they're coming out. You know, Loyi, still the Chip, the Moskov. I think E7 might even still decide to ban out the Claude as their last ban. For the first phase, they could still go that route. But so far, I think it's interesting because it's still the same sides, too. HomeBois is going to be on that blue.
3 games.
3 games.
And it's the same exact side, same exact bans for HomeBois. Maybe, again, though, it's just the execution that needs to be changed a bit. And also, maybe the draft order. That's going to be the Claude earlier this time. Not going to go for the Hereth ban just yet. They'll probably go for the Hereth ban as the last ban because Nets, he is really, really good on the Hereth as well. Now it's going to be the Bane ban, though, so the adjustment instantly by HomeBois, but they will have to leave open the Valentina. And I think that's a great option to go for, the Bane ban, because for the Valentina being left open, you can also pick it up for yourself.
Yeah.
Udil is an amazing player on the Valentina. You could definitely utilize that in the draft for HomeBois and in the game. That versatility that it adds towards HomeBois, if Udil does get his hands on it, would be really, really great. But I think for the Roger, you don't really want to change that much. It's still a great first pick. Because, yes,
so
you did
still
lose.
see them pick it up.
Yeah.
If it's open.
There's no way they leave it open, right? E7 will be very happy to go for it as well.
Yeah.
It's an amazing first pick. You may have not gotten the best of games on the Roger in game number 1 or 2, but they leave the Roger open. They go for the Valentina first, and this should be an Edith Roger, unless both teams say, you know what? Nah, that pick's overrated.
Nah.
I'd win.
There it is.
They're
Okay.
like, yeah. We would, yeah.
Throwing me back to nah, I'd win, right? That was Roger for a little bit before he lost in the jungle. So, gets his first loss in the jungle. Still, the percentage there that you guys see, of course, it's because he's flexed. And even with this, we don't want to say 100% just yet that he is going to be put in the jungle.
Yep.
Could possibly go in the hands of Fury here to go in the gold lane. But I think HomeBois wanting to change things up a little bit, locking in that Valentina, who has been banned for the most part, actually quite a bit throughout the entire wildcard stages, because Valentina is just that hero that provides a lot of uniqueness to a lineup, and then it also forces the enemy team to draft possibly in a different way, because you really have to consider what ultimates you might be giving up to that Valentina. So as we wait for this next 2 pick, wow, there it is. The Ling is finally going to come to play. So Ling is locked in. Ruby is there. Funny, too, that, the game plan was the Ling. And so I think this also forced an Angela ban coming out from Entity 7 if they want to, right? Because technically you could still put that Angela in the mid lane, let the Ruby go roam. Or, no, sorry, the Valentina is there. So you could actually put Ruby. We've seen, okay, I'm not going to say this is crazy, but we could see Ruby in the gold, could see her in the XP.
Definitely.
And then Angela could still be picked up for that lane.
Yeah, we've been seeing that a whole lot, the Ruby going to the gold lane. That would be really cool as well to see, but for E7, now what is it going to be? Because the Yve was picked up earlier, but right as they pick up the Yve, they ban out the Ling. You don't really want to be on that stationary target when you're up against the Ling, and that's why they go for the Kufra first here. The Kufra, obviously, with the bouncing ball, able to stop some of these dashes, and this is extra value. This is value. Why is it 3 times? Because that's a Valentina, a Ruby, and the Ling.
That's great value.
That's great value. That's amazing value. 3 of the picks that HomeBois have gone for can all be countered by the bouncing ball, and for E7, if they are able to use the bouncing ball properly, then everybody will be locked down in the place for the Roger, for the Edith, to deal enough damage, and that's going to be the Minotaur ban as well. Great adjustment as they pick up the Kufra.
Yeah, great pickup there. We see here, too, Chan is at 72,911 average damage. He's the highest of all the players for the wild card teams here, and which makes me think what mid lane pick he's going to go ahead and pick up to deal with this Valentina. Good read here, too. The Lonox is going to be banned. That is actually one of Chan's signature picks that does come through. But right now, still deciding on what they want to ban out. They did take out the Minotaur. Good choice to deal with some of the crowd control. And I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if this is the case where you do possibly see HomeBois fit in Angela in this lineup, despite how things are falling into place, it could be what they need to deal with the setup potential from E7. The Kufra there alone is enough to be a threat. Like we said, it's value upon value to deal already with this lineup. Then you have an Edith. So the last ban is actually going to be an Akai. Interesting ban that they go this, that they ban out the Akai when what were they thinking? Akai going roam?
Yeah, I mean, game number 1, Zorn was able to utilize the Akai as a roamer. So technically, you definitely see what they're going for here. You definitely see the respect given over by E7 to HomeBois. But now, with the Lunox ban, we have seen this before. Same thing in game number 1. HomeBois started to nail down on these mid laners, and in game number 1, after the Lunox, it was the Lilia ban. I think they should be okay up against the Yve now with this kind of composition, and they should actually find a lot of value to go up against the Yve with the Valentina stealing away the real world manipulation too. So Lilia should still be the ban for me particularly. No, they're going to go for the Vexana. Adds a lot of sustain, adds a lot of peel and cover, CC for your team with that Eternal Guard and a good Terrify instant almost, and Vexana. What do you think of that? Do you think it's a good ban? Because we haven't seen Chan on it much.
Yeah, we haven't seen Chan on it much. I think It's more so just dealing with the fact that they already have a ton of like knockups with a Kufra alone, so you don't want to deal with an Eternal Guard being dropped on your head. Yeah, it's a little too much, that Wombo combo to deal with. They might be looking to force E7 to even pick up, like you said, the Lilia. Novaria is still available. You could go Farsa if you really wanted to. You should be okay even on the Farsa, dealing with the mobility from this Ling pick here. There's a lot left in the mid lane.
What?
That is neither
that was a
of what I'm
synchronized
thinking.
what, bro?
Yeah.
Right as the Eudora gets picked up, E7. That's instant CC, instant burst. I get it up against the Ling. But also, well, I mean, technically, if you think about it, right? They already have DPS from the Edith. They already have lockdown. So you just need instant burst now.
So who's instant burst? One of the OG heroes.
Oh, man. When was the last time we saw Eudora? Well, all Mincetar picked up as well, so it's going to be the Mincetar gold I'm feeling for HomeBois here. No Minotaur to combo it together, but they do have an I'm offended. So, what, the King's offended?
The King's offended.
Because yesterday LaFell said King's Fury. Because
now
of the
it's
Minions
King's
Fury.
offended. And the Grok.
King's offended charge?
King's offended charge. So wait, okay. Is this Mincetar, you think, Mincetar gold or XP?
I think it's got to be the Mincetar gold up against the Roger. I think they want to try to counter the Roger. That was the same way they did against T2K yesterday when they went for the Roger in the gold lane.
But what if the Roger goes jungle here?
That's the thing. That's why the flex pick is really good. I guess for the Mincetar, you still find value later on against the Roger. But yeah, in the lane, not so much. So I guess we'll see. What do you think?
Personally, I'd much rather see the Mincetar go gold because he can be a threat.
Oh, man.
Ruby, put her in the XP lane. Just deal with that for now. But okay, Dairoth.
Lord.
So this is going to be a Dairoth jungle, right?
This is going to be a Dairoth jungle.
Dairoth jungle, locked in. Very interesting draft for game number 3. I am rejoicing because as we sit here and we might react like this is great to see because this opens up so many doors and avenues for teams to kind of test with. It makes me really think about what we could possibly see in the group stage as well. You know, and this is also the beauty of now being on the best of 5. Like we mentioned, we went through a whole bunch of best of 1s, and something like this, these type of adjustments for these lineups are great to see, and we'll have to see. I'm actually really curious about how the Eudora is going to work into this composition. Like you said, obviously right away you're like burst damage is what you're going for here, but once you use everything, like it's kind of done. Well, I mean, what else can you do? There is an on-demand stun that you might be able to play around with. But let's see how both teams deal with the lineups they've brought to game number 3. HomeBois and Entity 7, a 1-1 for now in this best of 5. Looking to cap out game 3 to get to the match point. And we'll see as they get us situated here. Yes, Chan on the Eudora pick. Still running the Lethal Ignition actually as well. Look how aggressive. Actually, they're going to go here. Erwin doing a job. I think he's that's quite a bit of damage.
Dealing a bit of damage onto Erwin. Still has the flicker too, and he gets the dash, but Udo follows through as well as Chan. Tries to go for that cheeky little stun, and that's what you expect from the Eudora. It does seem like, at least for the Eudora, I think it fits Hide on Bush's character and name a bit more, right? You want to be hiding in these bushes. But Chibi flex the Lethal Wanderer, no problem there, even with a little bit of a delay from the Kufra from Erwin invading earlier.
Okay, looking at it too, I really want to see how the rotation's going to be with both of this. This is a lot better though for Zorn to have the Grok, I would say, work around this, find set of potential. I think one of the things that they have to watch out for is this Dairoth. Whoa, we know that he can shred. Look how much pressure's here.
Well played already. Utilizing this pressure, top of the blades, right into the knockup, and now it's going to be the Pistol Strike that goes in, but Nets is still able to claim first blood.
Wow.
Overextending. Hide on Bush gets caught.
Oh, hold on, mid lane. I think Erwin's going to be fine. That Spear of Glory able to pull him in so he gets the additional shot from the turret was exactly the punishing moment that HomeBois needed there. Okay, Nets.
That was an interesting interaction. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So if you use your ultimate on the Roger, you can actually cancel out the grab part. That's a cancel on the recall of Nets. Trying to delay it now as Fury tries to shove the wave to punish Nets, but he'll stop the recall. Zorn in the mid lane, going to be chunked as well. Chan doing some damage as well. He's got to be respecting this because Chan will get his ultimate. Oh, that was close.
Yeah, he's got the Thunder's Wrath now. But man, Entity 7 will just go ahead and take the turtle here. Getting the objective, put the pressure.
That's the Sun now with the Thunder's Wrath, but he's able to steal the Primal Wrath now, turning it around. Supat with a flicker forward, and now I am offended. But Erwin will be able to escape. Now it's going to be a flicker and another Shatter. GB dives in deep, picks up the swords, but Odil will be able to dish out some damage with their Shatter. It's going to be Marquinhos, still with the Primal Wrath, dealing some damage now, getting out with the onward as well. Supat going to be chased down by Hide on Bush as the power of nature will be enough by Zorn. Hide on Bush stepping forward, getting that physical defense shred, but the wild charge gets Zorn out to safety. Chan.
Chan's going for it.
But surely wanting to go for it, doesn't have the flicker to barrier. Oh, Chan. He's caught there. He doesn't want to go for the last kill, and he decides to walk back up as Udo gets spotted in the bush. Now it's going to be Hide on Bush, jumping on the support, trying to go for that assassination. But I don't think you can do that, not to the fighter.
Okay, very interesting, just extended skirmish that turned into all of that. You know, looking at this too, I'm really going to keep an eye on where this build path is for Nets with Mincetar. There can be some changes here that we see, of course, build path-wise, but not going to be a threat too early on just now. A lot of it's going to be utilizing that the ultimate, the King's Calling, to help with some of this fight, and maybe even the Spear of Glory if he can grab the right target here. If it happens to be Chan, Chan doesn't have his flicker available just for now. Oh, deal.
Iris Rage into the Abyss, some strike. Hide on Bush. Not hiding at all in this game.
Hide on Bush is just, when he gets this Dyroth, like he knows the timings and the positioning so well. And just the way the Dyroth works, able to shred through some of this armor, you know, it makes you even worry for Zorn on the Grok, you know? And with that, they have enough setup potential that Hide on Bush can actually just kind of swoop in, get that penetration through, and then the Abysm strike. So, and even Marquinhos, man. Marquinhos has been on point. This is his third Edith game in the series. And I'm surprised earlier he was able to... Oh, hold on. Mid.
Another Abyssal strike now knocked up in the wild charge. Chibi should be able to take this kill, and he does. Meanwhile, up top, Nets. Now when the King's Calling, Fury still able to scratch him down. Even with his soldiers, it's not enough. Marquinhos stunned up, has the Primal Rat. Now the time of the Blades used up. Two-man knockup into the Blades. Erwin gets a three-man rage, and now tries to go for the steal, but Udil secures it. That's a double kill as that's going to be Chan. Locked down a Defiant Blade. Stunned up, Thunder Wrath. Not there. Chan will be taken out. Udil picks up a triple.
That was such a good Guardian's Barrier, right on point. Able to collapse that in and get the triple. So with that, HomeBois, it's nothing, even with the triple, it's nothing too crazy. You know, Entity 7 isn't far behind here or anything. Economy-wise, they're doing fine farming up. So they finally kind of dealt with a couple of the problems, right? Hard on Bush did have that death, but even Nets, he does get the Corrosive Scythe available now. You can see this fight, this replay break out. Also keep an eye, there's a lot of pressure there in the live, but this was just a good team fight coming out from HomeBois for that. Mid lane in the live.
Right into the Abyssal strike they go, but a King's Calling locks them all down in the mid lane. Erwin gets a rage onto 4, or actually going to be 3 actually, and now Fury goes in with Lycan 4, trying to deal some damage. Nets out of range, but the onward brings Support back into the Earth Shatter. Fury deals some damage now with the Lycan 4. This ball gets pulled back, but now they're returning. They're not able to go for the kill just yet. Nets will fall, and Chibi dashes into the turret with the Defiant Blaze as he was going for the purple buff to take him down. And now it's a Sky Piercer for Mr. Chibi.
Chibi locks in the Sky Piercer. That was an amazing play from Sepat. Able to go in, flicker, I'm offended, grabbing 2, and under the turret they take Fury, able to really punish him. And so, you know, that's one of the strengths, obviously, of this Ruby pick, able to provide some of those moments like that where you can turn the tide of a fight. So now HomeBois, getting that little bit of lead they've been working for up to this point. Chibi has done an outstanding job at staying alive. He's only got the Haas Claws plus the Sky Piercer, but you know, he's really choosing his fights here, and that's what he needs to do with this lineup. You can already see Genius Wand locked in for Chan, so they really want to pump out that damage, get the magic resistance down, and then let Marquinhos pop Primal Wrath and follow up with that reduced magic resistance and try to win some of those skirmishes and fights later on. But just wait. Once Chan gets some more items locked in, I'm not sure exactly the build path for this Eudora because we barely see her picked up in pro play. How's it going to go? Chan?
Ooh. still able to escape despite the wild charge. Now it's giving the Tyrant's Revenge and the Rage lock-in. Soaring down, Abyssal Strike not able to get him down as everyone popped in a bouncing ball. Getting worked at.
Oh no,
Right into the Blade channel, gets the stun under Wrath, and as he got caught in the King's Calling, and he will be taken out. Hideout Bush will follow next, but look at Marquinhos and Fury in the back line, doing some damage with the Primal Wrath as Lycan bounce, does some damage back, but Marquinhos flickers forward, tries to go for Uno, one last shot to do it, and it will be Marquinhos with the damage overtime to take him out. A 2-for-2 trade. As Spot tries to run away, but a bouncing ball stops him. Another two-man grab right into the turret. That's a killing spree for Nets, but Fury has the Lycan bounce, continues under the tier 1. Jordan's still able to flicker out to safety, and both teams decide that's enough.
That's enough, you know, but good fighting coming out from Entity 7. I gotta give it up to them. You know, they deal with Chibi. They finally, you saw how much damage the Thunder's Wrath had there. And that's something to be said because, again, the only item that was locked in was the Genius One. What more when you get those later items, even the Magic Penetration items locked in? A good setup there. I mean, there was a lot of patience as well. Nets was luckily there to finally cap off that kill. But, you know, for Entity 7, they also have to transition the thought of not just worrying about Chibi, but eventually Nets on this Mincetar pick. You saw, I think he did just pick up the Golden Staff too, you know, so he is going to start to be even more of a threat. And they have to deal with, oh, Chibi? Should be, okay, gets away, Berserker's Fury locked in here. So for Entity 7, I'm going to be looking, let's take a look at the items. Still working on that next one, that second item here for Chan. Also, you have the Corrosion Scythe, Golden Staff already for Nets locked in. Oh, hold on.
Wild charge into the hook. That's the combo into the King's Calling.
Huge set.
The King's Charge.
The King's Charge. The Spear Charge.
The Wild King.
That's good. The Wild King.
I think that was Trex. Shout out to Trex.
Yep. Shout out to Trex. Wild King.
Wild King. He said Wild King's Calling or something.
Something like that. You just shortened it. You know.
Yeah, I just made Wild King. You know. But HomeBois.
Good Lord. This is already just going to be taken. This is what I'm talking about, man. Like, in the current state of things, look at this. The gold gap isn't anything crazy. It's 9.5 minutes in, but you cannot go forward and contest that first Lord. It's just kind of different to see here. And Entity 7, part of the answer might just be, you know what, we need more time to farm up with this. As you look at, you know, they're tanking quite a bit of damage. You have Irwin here. But Zorn, this is, like I said, a signature pick. His Guardian barriers are always on point. The wild charges too. Udil holding on to the Primal Wrath. They're going to go in.
Good onward. Earthshatter dodge away from Zorn now. Going to the wild charge right into the Calling of the King. And they all just get mauled on by the rest of the member. Even Udil. He was the Primal Wrath for that one.
It's, I mean, and the thing is Zorn is literally just sitting there. He's 2-0-12, and he's got this Quantum Charge Grok, and he's doing that. And then you get pulled into the King's Calling. The shields are going to pop here on these base turrets, but man, Entity 7 might want to check themselves after that one. They need, like I said, more time here. They got to clear out this Lord. Wings are going to be picked up by Chan, DHS by Fury. So those are some good items being locked in at this point in the game. But as all these shields pop on the base, you're going to have to clear things down. And I think for Entity 7, it's really up to the point of they need to utilize the Kufra pick, man. And part of that is just maybe an amazing set that we've seen time and time again when Kufras are locked in. This could be it.
Revenge, and the Rage straight into the Abyssal Strike as well. Sabani able to flick around the safety though, and now the turnaround. Sabani gonna be taken down as the King's Calling, locks them down. Now another hook into Erwin to bring him into the King's Calling as Chibi goes for the kill. That's a double kill. Chibi still going for more. Taps the Blaze, knocking Marquinhos up. Now with a few more blades, he should be able to pick up a triple kill. And he does. That's, ooh, barely getting Chan there. Chan was able to get the stun off right before.
Able to get the stun off, and right now it looks like their eyes are set on this mid turret. I don't think this is endable, but HomeBois might still just go ahead and grab the base turret, get the bottom one as well.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, Zorn's just powering up. He is the turret. He's the turret right now. The King turret, bro. Oh man, this is what I'm saying. Last game we saw Zorn on the Matilda. This is a different zone.
This is a completely different zone.
He doesn't do this on Matilda for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to have him on an initiator at this point, right? You need to have him on a hero like this, the Grok, the Cho. In game number 1, it was the Akai, so that was... Oh, I mean, technically, yeah, you're up there, right? You can go
Technically,
for
Akai's there.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's one of the, he did get banned, you know, so the respect was there. Entity 7, and like I said, Irwin's kind of got to do that. Like, this is up to Irwin, and it might even come down to just being able to get a setup in the base on the defense, because as this Lord comes up, I think it's still going to be taken out quite quickly, as you see happening here. You can see them forming up on that mid side, possibly, but that's already Lord taken, so Entity 7, with 2 base turrets already down, and this top one most likely going down in the exchange as they deal with the mid lane push, it's... Entity 7 could possibly see themselves facing match point. Now, with this is where we have to see your setup potential with Irwin, plus Marquinhos. Is it going to be good enough with this lineup from HomeBois? They have to avoid the Spear of Glory. They have to avoid a lot, actually, to be forced into the King's Calling, and here they go.
You see already, Udio doing a whole lot of damage. Pops in the Primal Wrap, Purify as well. Out of the onward, and Marquinhos going to be caught in the midst of it. Oh, Irwin getting a 4-man Tyrant's Rage with a wild charge. Connects on the back. That's going to be demolished there. But the Lord is already onto the base. It looks like Marquinhos still going to be able to dish up some damage onto the other members. 3 members taken out now. But the Lord slowly but surely is going at it. Chibi goes and picks it up, but now loses his life to some of the basic attacks from Marquinhos with a few more minions coming down. It should still be the end, and HomeBois pick up match point.
Man, they really worked for that ending right there. It was such a, like I was saying leading into that defense, it's going to be on Irwin. Irwin goes in with a great set, but unfortunately by that time that game, the team fight didn't go in their favor. It was a little too late to be able to find something like that, and again, it makes me question, was this possibly the right pick for Chen? Was the Eudora enough burst, you know, to kind of handle what was thrown at them from HomeBois? Because it just looked like they weren't able to, once things got kind of out of control and the snowball already started happening for HomeBois, it was almost like we throw all this at them, the Thunder's Wrath, we use the stuns, and then once that's all gone, we have to wait. It's like cooldowns. You wait for it. You wait for that to be available again to make a play. You might get one, but how many times did we see them try to get Sapat and he was able to avoid, you know, getting killed? Sometimes just with the flicker alone. I think Sapat really played a big part in this win, doing stuff like this, right? Using the I'm Offended flicker into the combination to get kills when really it was Entity 7 trying to push that envelope. You know, right here, it's great. Chan is able to go ahead, use that Eudora, gets a couple kills, gets some burst damage down, but once some of those defensive items were locked in, it wasn't enough. And like I said, great setup there from Irwin, but look at this. Look at that team fight. You know, it happens sometimes. What I'm noticing is how fast some of these fights end and how quick people go down. But let's take a quick break before we head on to the next match.
adventures bring new challenges. Even as the heat rises, dandruff and grease won't stand a chance. With new Clear Men, powered by triple formula technology. To eliminate dandruff, itch, and grease, gives you 8 hours of freshness and 100% dandruff-free hair. New Clear Men, 0% dandruff, 100% confidence.
And welcome back once again here on the English desk. It's Mirko, it's Naisu, and we are facing a match point for HomeBois right now as it is 2-1 in the grand final here for the wildcard stage. And we'll find out which one of these teams will go forward to the group stage for the Midseason Cup 2024 here at EWC. Man, I would say we've seen some good variations from Game 1 to Game 3. What do you think about that? What do you think about that Game 3, Mirko? Because we saw some interesting picks, the Eudora, and I don't know, man. I don't think it worked out the way they wanted it to.
It really didn't. I think it kind of failed at what it was supposed to do in the early game. They needed a snowball. They needed to get Chan going, but unfortunately the pace was actually on the side of HomeBois. They were able to push the pace all the way from the start of the game as usual. I think in all 3 games, even in game number 2 in the loss that they suffered up against, Entity 7, they also got first blood. They were the ones to actually force out some of these early fights. So as long as that continues to happen, going for something like a Eudora, I don't think will work. But if Entity 7 can grasp that early game and go for these fights, force it out a little bit earlier, and hey, we might see the Eudora actually work.
I think I'm glad that we saw it. There's still room for it to work in some different lineups. I think part of it was just like you mentioned, the fact that HomeBois was able to get that Ling, get control early on, and play the part. Because remember too, this Mincetar pick was something interesting as well, And also, don't forget, guys, you can leave us your broadcast feedback here by scanning that QR code to let us know what you think. Don't let us know what you think about the picks here, though, but about the broadcast. You guys can let us know in the chat what you guys think about these drafts, because I think that's a thing to be said is Mincetar Gold Lane has popped up in the past, even in some of our regions here coming into this. I think it's still, if you want to think about it, it's actually a good answer in dealing with Roger. You're kind of trying to catch him out. You're trying to play into the fact that you have that King's Calling ultimate ability, and it might be enough to deal with a gold lane Roger. It might be enough also where teams typically pick up the Roger first pick, and they're probably going to flex it. They don't know if they want to put it in the jungle or the gold lane. Then you save that Mincetar pick as the answer, possibly, depending on the teams, to answer the Roger. And I think that's something that we'll probably see unfold here. The Eudora, like I said, might have been just something that Entity 7 wanted to pick up. Could be also the pocket pick for Chan. But I think it was just the game plan here was to be able to stop the momentum, because that's really what they went for. I mean, you're talking about a Ling on the other side, but Zorn was a huge component to HomeBois. Just playing around Zorn. I mean, how many times did you see a Guardian's Barrier exactly where it needed to be? Timing was on point. And this is what I like so much. Zorn on the Grok, Sapat on that Ruby pick, because we saw those two alone really being a key part to turning the tides in some of these fights. They're able to even bait things out from Entity 7, whether that's the ultimates, whether that's battle spells and initiations. And Zorn, he has this, passive effect where he gets people going. He
gets people in your face. Yeah, that's what LaFell says usually. Zorn just gets in your face, bro.
Yeah, especially on a Grok. The perfect hero to do it.
Yeah, because he uses the power of nature, walks up to the E that just says, yeah, go ahead. Go onward, bro. Go Earth Shatter. Try to CC me. Walks up to Erwin as well. Even, I think this game in particular, he was walking up to Chan a whole lot, right? He was just like, stun me, bro. Stun me, bro. Try to burst me down.
2-0-20, by the way.
2-0-20, and the combo is what's really deadly, right? You go for the wild charge. That in itself is already like a crazy CC ability, especially if you connect it onto a wall, because you get the additional stun. But then you get a Mincetar to pull you into the
Pull you
King's
in.
Calling, and there you get knocked up, you get pulled in, and then you get ganked technically
You
by a
just
few
get-
soldiers like stabbing you with the spears, right?
And then
Just
you
like-
got to deal with Zorn.
at that point, and you can't even dash out at that point. So what do they need to do up against that? I think this composition, by the way, for E7, I honestly feel like it could have worked as long as there was no Mincetar on the other side. I think the Mincetar and the Grok, technically, these two picks were the big picks that got them the victory.
Yeah, definitely agree with that because I think Minotaur, like the Mincetar is still, I would still call it a niche pick. I feel like it is becoming one of the answers to a Roger. We saw this earlier in Game 2, though. One of the answers to the Roger, like we said, was the Eve. The Eve pick. The Eve pick was picked up to deal with it in the jungle when HomeBois drafted it, first pick. So now we're seeing things fall into place to deal with the Roger, I would say, at least, because so far that's kind of where this meta is going, where Roger and Ling are usually the priorities, I would say. We've seen Valentina maybe picked up a first pick a couple times here, but overall, it's really kind of dealing with momentum, guys. We haven't seen a game go super long yet. And I'm not sure until when we see that, because even when it comes to these Lord fights, you're not an LD anymore. You're not Lord Dance Enjoyers anymore, because
You're
so
an LDH.
far
You're a Lord Dance hater.
I don't know about hater, man, but you're LDW.
LDW. What is
Lord
that?
Dance Watcher.
Lord
because
Dance Watcher.
like half the teams, man, because
They
of the
just let it
snowball
go.
stuff,
Yeah.
they're just letting it go. They're just watching it, you know? And very rarely so far throughout the wild card have we seen teams actually dance off for the Lord. So and like we said, even when gold leads, we're talking about gold leads of just 3,000 to 4,000, they almost feel like they're 9,000 to 10,000 pre-patch. So that could be part of it, you know, and teams just don't want to have a deficit even further against a snowball. So let's jump into the draft here. Game number 4, it's match point for HomeBois. If they win this, they'll secure their spot, the last slot for the group stage for MSC 2024. You can already see it too. Moskov actually going to be the first ban. There's the Loyiso. They swap it a little bit, but still nonetheless the same heroes being banned out. Chip over there. And I'm actually surprised it's still HomeBois on the blue. 4 games in a row now. HomeBois is on the blue side, and we got Entity 7 on the red. So with that, we'll see what these bans end up doing. I think it's still going to be possible that they're the same bans we saw previous games. And for Entity 7 specifically, let's just say HomeBois doesn't take out the Bane. I could see Entity 7 picking that up, going through it, but with HomeBois, the way that they dealt with it in Game 2, I don't think they'll let it go through. There's a lot of respect bans obviously going out. The Claude is taken out for Nets. And I would say Nets as a dynamic gold laner, that's what makes him such a threat. You can ban out the Claude. Signature pick, probably his best. He's also a great Harith. He's also now, you've seen him. He's a Mincetar. You know, how many gold laners can you actually confidently say, like, yeah, they'll pick up the Mincetar and play it really well against these teams? But that is going to be the Bane that's still banned out from HomeBois to round out that first phase of the draft.
Not going to be the Bane, yeah. So same exact bans from game number 3, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That was what HomeBois did in game number 2 as well. And that was when E7 were able to adapt. So
yeah,
it feels like right now E7 will have to make the call. Do they want to ban out the Harith or the Ling? Because you mentioned it. If you want to try to counter Roger, if you want to try to win in these team fights and have that poking pressure, the Eve is a great option. And we've seen Chana pull it up many times, working it, making it work. And it'll still be the Harith ban, so they won't actually go for the Ling ban to try to enable that Eve pick. And obviously HomeBois, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're just going to go with whatever worked in the previous game. That's a Valentina first pick again. Now waiting on what E7 wants to do. If it's the Edith together with a Roger again, or if they try to change the things up now.
I think they still... Oh, man, if they go Edith, that's just every single game it's locked in. And honestly, they could. It's still a safe pick. Honestly, Edith is just in a position right now where there's always going to be value in that pick. You can pick it up 4 games in a row, and it's still a threat, still something that you have to deal with. For E7, it would be interesting if they change things up here, though, as they're facing that match point and losing this opportunity to see the world. But there they go. Edith locked in already. Good answer. They take the Grok instead. They want to give that over to Zorn, so Grok Edith is enough tankiness and durability in the front line that they can kind of base the rest of the lineup around this already. So I'm wondering how HomeBois will respond to this.
We were coming into the lineup, or coming into this game, this match, this grand final, to see who makes it to MSC 2024 main stage, with the same thought in mind, I feel, the same opinion. Roger, amazing first pick, but now we see the Cho and the Ling before the Roger. We see the Edith and the Grok and the Valentina before the Roger. It seems now the trend is you pick Roger. Roger is an auto lose so far, right? HomeBois game number 2 picked up the Roger, lost. E7 on game 3 picked up the Roger and lost as well. Roger is standing at a 0% win rate here in this series.
This is interesting. So yeah, HomeBois goes with the Ling again. The Cho is there.
Signature.
And you mentioned this earlier, right? I think you did say that it was like an unofficial Savage previous game, right? Like I'm pretty sure that's the case. We'll have to.
Technically, it was official because the card still went through, but the game ended before it went through.
So official.
So it's an official Savage. Shout out to Chibi, by the way, for getting an official Savage. I thought at that point, like, Savage, no Savage,
Yeah.
the game ends.
But the game ended, I don't know, man. They might have to bust up some of these healths on the base. I think at some point, because it goes down so fast right now with the course of things. But there's the Lunox pick.
There you go.
Lunox pick is going to come through, and we know that this was banned out previously. This is also a great pick for Chan. Loves this hero. This might be exactly what they need to hopefully extend to a Game 5 ahead of them for Entity 7. Now that we get through the second phase of the bans, we're going to have to see what Entity 7 wants to take out. Again, gold lane option is not picked up just yet for HomeBois. And I'm not sure if they'll actually ban out a Mincetar, if that's something they're going to go for. But interestingly enough, they're going to take out the Lapu Lapu instead. A hero that even now I would say is niche to certain teams. Some teams don't pick up the Lapu Lapu at all, and some teams love it. Right? But Julian is going to be the answer. Oh, there we go. Chibi. He officially got the Savage in the last game of the series. This marks the first Savage of the Mid-Season Cup 2024. So, man, wild cards, we've been seeing the Maniacs multiple.
I think Yahiko got 3.
Yahiko got 3. Well, Chibi is the first one to get the Savage here. Makes me wonder. We see this stuff this early on, man. What are we going to see in the group stage? Like, how many Maniacs are possible Savages? With the way the team fights are going, how many are we going to see?
I think we're going to see a lot. But it just sucks to see the first Savage go that way. It wasn't even, even hyped up because, it didn't come up.
That's true.
It's okay. It's okay. Now we get the Roger ban. By the way, for E7, they were like, all right, they kind of listened to, or maybe they already had this thought as well, but the Grok and the Mincetar was definitely the biggest problem for them in the previous game. So the fact now that they banned out the Mincetar, they've picked up the Grok, denying it away from HomeBois. Is this the way to go? Now with the first pick on the red side, Marksman still up for grabs. They can go for, with no Roger, no Claude, no Moskov. This is actually kind of tough now. I mean, we've seen the carry. Usually the carry does get picked up, but the carry has been auto-lose too so far.
Carry hasn't had a good time, yeah. Clint, maybe?
The Clint has been doing good. I think this is a bit unfortunate, though, for E7 if they go for the Clint. Both the Ling and the Cho.
Yeah.
Be very happy to go up against that hero that can usually always just go for the Flicker. No other battle spell. It is still going to be the Clint, so still relying on the Edith and the Grok to disengage for
Hey, man.
cover.
He's got a 100% win rate,
One-time pick? Was that one time?
One-time pick.
Yeah,
Taking the high noon, baby.
I mean, for Chan, too, 2 times picked up the Lunox, and it's an 100% win rate.
So this is like, in a way for Entity 7, I feel like also just comfort in a way for the hero picks so far. And actually, just with this, they're locked in terms of damage profile. Got good physical. I think people sleep on the fact that how much damage Clint can actually do. And also, Lunox is Lunox. Like, she just pumps out damage with Chaos Bolts.
Oh, there you go.
There it is. I mentioned this earlier. Nets is a Bruno player, loves the Bruno, and is one of the few players that brings this hero out. So he goes and picks up the Bruno, and then the Trizzle's last pick here for HomeBois. So interesting. Also another debut. Man, how many? And a Karina. How many debut picks have we seen through the wild card alone? My goodness. All right. Interesting way to kind of round this out also for Entity 7. That even furthers it, man. Like I was saying, their damage profile is great. Well, now they add a little true damage, of course, to that as well with the Karina.
That's interesting. The fact that now they have so many layers of damage. They technically have 4 damage dealers in their composition, right? That's a Karina, a Lunox, an Edith, and a Clint. And for HomeBois, it's the same.
Yeah.
They have a Bruno, Terizla, Valentina, and Ling. I think me and LaFell were always saying this, but the team that has more damage output usually comes out on top in the meta. And for both teams, they are really banking on the damage output. And without further ado, nice to take us to game number 4.
Well, we're going to jump into the Land of Dawn, possibly for the last time, unless Entity 7 can extend the series to game number 5. HomeBois looking to lock in that slot to MSC at 2024 group stage. Can they do it with this lineup? Signature picks all around. Entity 7 will have to do something great here to take it further. Already mid lane though. Zorn should be fine. This is one of the interesting things with the Cho currently too. Gets a little bit of extra damage on those basic attacks. 180% rather. Look at him just battling out with Erwin.
The passive just constantly being up. Now Erwin might be forced to flicker, and he does. Udil walks up or dashes up, deal that damage to force the flicker out, and Marquinhos even is taking a bit of punishment. Now Supat, 3 swings of that hammer. In the mid lane, Chan forced the flicker too. They're burning flickers very early on.
2 flickers down already for Entity 7, and this is what I was saying with the Cho pick, man. Concussive Blast with that new passive there from Cho, actually pumping out 180% plus damage on that basic attack, man. It's surprising how much damage he can actually do, and that's what they're feeling right now. Already Chibi level 4. He's going to be kind of pushed out of the jungle here, but he wants that. Goes and pops the Tempest of Blades.
Goes in for the Defiant Blades as well. Just needs one more and goes out with a Finch Poise. Chibi claims another first blood. How many first bloods has he taken now?
That's just crazy, man. I mean, the fact that he was 1v2, wanted to get that little XP camp, gets it, and then gets a kill under the tier 2 tower versus 2 members. That is the power right now of Ling, and I'm sure, like I said, a lot of people out there for the Assassins are rejoicing. Shan doesn't have the flicker here, so gonna have to be a little bit careful. We'll heal back up, and now with this turtle now spawning, and a little lead for HomeBois to work around with. Zorn, go ahead and do what Zorn does best. Taking the attention here of Entity 7 and just showing face, but it looks like everybody rotating except for the gold laners for this turtle. Udil holding on to that Primal Wrath himself. And Entity 7 still waiting, on this level 4 for Erwin. Doesn't have the wild charge available. They might just call this one off.
It does seem like they have no ways to actually enter around the turtle, and Chibi will be able to pick this up for free. Does use the Retribution still up top, by the way. In this lane, it's Nets who's actually winning it out in the trades.
Yep. It's Bruno's just that pick. I mean, Bruno is still a good quality pick in the sense that he also just destroys turrets pretty quickly. And, his ultimate isn't amazing or anything, but the amount of just damage that he has. Let's take a look at the. We need a Zorn cam or a Zorn counter.
We need a TP counter, bro.
Yeah, we need a counter here. But going back to it, Bruno, great solid pick, especially once you get a couple items locked in. And once again, go ahead and grab the MSC pass for you guys here in game. Oh,
that's a flicker into the way of the dragon, right into the Defiant Blades, and the Tempest of Blades is used up, but it's still going to be the brilliance from Chan as Chibi picks up some of the blades on the floor, gets out with the Finch Poise. And it doesn't seem like anyone's going to be dying there in that skirmish. Both teams disengaging, resetting again.
Okay, let's take a look at the items. You can already see the Blade of Hephaestus locked in once again for Fury. Saw him do this earlier. The damage will come online already. Look at him going 1v1 with Nets, but look at already up top. I'm not sure if they're going to commit on this. But one thing, too, for Hide on Bush, I'm looking to see when he's able to actually pump out and get the damage out on some of these targets. Again, the Karina is not a pick you see often right now in competitive play. It could make it work. They just, I think they just really want to farm up as much as possible. Cause there for Nets now too to deal with that bombardment range advantage that the Clint will have, so he can heal back up. But still, top side.
Again with the Jikundo, Fury still able to flicker out of the Jikundo, not out of the Tempest of Blades though, was Nets. Just keeps on basic attacking, and now it's Udo who's going to be caught, who's already stolen away some of the damage from the Primal Wrath, and now with the wild charge, they're still trying to delay the inevitable. Zorn is trying to sandwich Erwin under the tier 1, and now Erwin, where do you have to go? No way the Dragon. Actually, he does, but he doesn't even need to go for it. Erwin flickers back out, and Udil gets baited in right into Chance. Chaos is on the flicker as well, chasing Chibi down to secure a double kill up top in the tier 1.
Great play, great response. Chan as well. This is what happened to them in the previous game when he was on the Eve, right? He got 2 kills early on, and he was able to really help the damage profile and the team for Entity 7, and that's going to be them taking this turtle, possibly.
Penalty zone, locking 2 members up. Storm goes over to Jiku Noah as well with Retribution, still comes out on the head on Bush. Still, Sapot's going to hammer down as Chan goes over the Chaos Assault. And now Chibi goes over re-engage, gets knocked up 2 times by the Wild Charge, and the Earth Shatter still follows through. And it's going to be Marquinhos that gets picked off by Sapot. Zorn again playing force to flicker out with the Shadow Assault, not connecting. Good way of the Dragon to disengage, but Udil was still all alone, isolated from the team and taken down. So that was a good trade for Entity 7 actually, as Nets is pushing some damage down with the Worldy 2. The bounce, last one doesn't hit onto Chan, and he'll be able to escape.
Like, do you feel like Worldy's a good ultimate? Like, do you feel like it's actually impactful?
You know, I mean,
as a gold laner,
as a Bruno player, it's there. It's
there?
an ult. It's one of the ults of all time.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? We'll see if the impact is going to be there. Claus, like I said, is already locked in, working on the next item. Sometimes we might even see him. I'm not sure if he's going to rush the next item of Malefic Roar or what the build path is going to be here. But also Glowing One was picked up. And again, it looks like HomeBois still wants to make a play up here. They got the information that they need. Zorn providing a lot of that. Here they go, top side. Pushing them out.
And now, wait, Chibi might be going for Ray the Dragon. Finds him in the bush, brings him back to Sapot. Baits out the Wild Charge, but now it's going to be Chibi who walks up with the Finch Poise. And it's still going to be Sapot who secures the kill. A defensive Tempest of Blades by Chibi is in the bottom lane. We do see Marquinhos go for a trade, but that's a kill. So Erwin.
Yeah, it's a. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about Entity 7, what they're able to do at this point. They don't really have an answer just yet for everything being thrown at them. Zorn as well, able to get a lot of these Away the Dragons off, whether he has a flicker or not. Hide on Bush, like I'm still waiting to see this Karina come through in the damage department. Chan has been doing a lot of it. And I think, you know, you just buy time for Fury to go ahead and get the items that he needs. So they have to buy some more time. And right now, it looks like, you know, they want to battle out for this 3rd turtle. Chibi's going to start it up. Rest of the team going to go ahead and get situated. They might just let this go, and it looks like they're going to do that, as Hide on Bush is not even near here. So they might just try to get ready for the Lord fights instead. So that's going to be that. Now, 3rd turtle of the game going to the hands of HomeBois. Oh, Chibi.
Trying to go for 1v1. Fury going to be caught in the Tempest of Blaze. That knockup will catch him, and now Chibi just escapes, leaves him to Udil as he pops into Primal Wrath. But he actually dealt so much damage. Chibi taken very, very low. Sky Piercer already, though. 2nd item as he completes the Berserker's Fury first.
Yep. So already at that point, you know, this is where it gets very threatening. Berserker's Fury allowing him to do a lot of this crit damage and get that off. Zorn, though, Marquinhos, I don't think he's going to pull the trigger on this. The rest of the team coming up.
The way the Dragon brings him back all the way. Udil has a Primal Wrath, gets out just a bit, but then Sapot comes in with a hammer. Even with Erwin with a Wild Charge, it will not be able to save him, and Zorn continues the damage. Chan goes in, bad penalty zone by Sapot to lock them out, and Nets just picks up all of those basic attacks to take Fury down. Again, he just respawned Naisu, and it seems they're also going to be able to take the tier 2 up top as well as down below. As Udil just zones Chan away from his own base.
That was crazy. Like, at that point, when he got that 4-man penalty zone off too, he just gets the Winter's Crown. And, you know, he was ready for that initiation. And it just looks like Entity 7, they don't have an answer right now. I mean, even Hide on Bush has not been able to do really much anything on the Karina pick at this point. And it looks like they're just going to go ahead and have to turtle up in their base on the defensive and hope that there's enough time to build up here. Because even if they get some type of set, who are they going to set up? Looking at the replay here again, you're going to see it. The hammers come down. The penalty zone is about to be dropped.
Boom.
Even using that Winter's Crown. Boom. Gets multiple members. They follow on through.
Winter's Crown, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning. He got the Winter's Crown just to pop the freeze, you know?
Was that more just like freestyle? It didn't look like he needed it.
It did. I feel like he didn't need it, but he was prepped and he readied it, right? So, like, interesting, because Sapat, he even just has an Athena shield, so he's like, my job is literally just to jump in penalty zone. That's it.
He doesn't even have any, like, usually we see a Fury Hammer, right? Like, at
There's
least
just
a Fury
nothing, dude.
Hammer. He has nothing. He knows that he's just playing the enabler role here in game number 4. Udil picks up. Chibi Retri did, but you know, Udil picked it up. Retri got Udil.
You know, they're having a battle amongst themselves, I guess, you know? But, yeah, I think part of this is just, and this is crazy. Damage dealt. He's second with this defensive build for Sepot, who is somehow a second in damage.
That's the base damage, man.
That's the base
That's
damage. This is the different type of Rizzler you guys are seeing right now. Damage taken too. Like I said, Entity 7. You know, Irwin is trying to do his best, but even if you get some type of setup, I just feel like they don't have enough in terms of damage, which is weird because you're talking about a Lunox who had 2 early kills, but they're lacking in the department of where's the Karina? Where can you pump out the damage you're looking for in the jungle? But they're going to find themselves on the defense. Nice Guardian's Bear. Shields is going to pop though.
Oh man, the Holy Defense was already baited down in the mid lane and the bottom lane as well now. As that Cannon just goes in towards the base turret. They're going to be able to take that away. Penalty zone by Sapat. Only on to 1. The Winter Crown saves him for a bit as Marquinhos pops in Primal right in the back line. What happened to Chibi, who dove in way too deep, gets picked off, and now it's Sapat and Chibi taken out. Now a full re-engage coming in from Chan as he pops in the Brilliance, flickers forward. 3 members down, traded in for a base turret in the mid lane.
Hey, that's Entity 7 answering the question. I was like, where is the Karina? I don't know, Hideout Bush got a kill there, but it could have been actually more devastating. He's already got the Feather of Heaven and Starlium Scythe. Looks like he's going to Holy Crystal next, so maybe this is the makings of a turnaround for Entity 7 in this game. They still have, you know, 4,000 gold deficit to work against, but they're going to be able to get some space now on the map, which is good for them. But look at Zorn.
Again into the back line with the way the Dragon finds Fury out of all of them. Kicks him back right into Chibi as he picks up the Sky Piercer, execute. And now it's Erwin next in the chopping block. Say goodbye to him as he picks up a double. Turn around again. And it seems for Zorn. He's walking up. All that effort just to recall the faces of Entity 7.
Oh man, they're doing it again. And you know, just when you think like, okay, Entity 7 able to get something out of that, then they get just executed. Also a Blade of Despair now, BOD locked in for Chibi. They're going to need those immortalities for Entity 7. No Lord available just yet, you know, 30 seconds away or so, but it looks like they're going to work on this bottom turret as Nets knocks it down. This is what Bruno's really good at too, just decimating these turrets, getting them down quickly. But with that, HomeBois will probably just be the discipline route, wait for this Lord to spawn up. For Entity 7, I'm wondering if they are able to actually somehow contest or if the game plan is just going to be, you know what, let's defend in the base. We were able to do it previously. Chan hasn't died yet, playing really well with the Brilliances that's available with this Lunox. Does just pick up the Wishing Lantern, so maybe the plan for Entity 7 is really to find a pickoff if they can. It looks like they are venturing outside of the base. They might even look for Udil here, unless, look at this,
look at Zorn.
Zorn in the mid, conceal.
Udil leads it out. He's able to cancel out that. Winter Crown as well. Baited out. Now it's going to be the re-engage. Coming to the back line with the Brilliance popped in. Penalty zone to lock Fury, and he's all isolated. Erwin flickers forward, gets the wild charge away, and a Dragon as well to bring Hideout Bush right into Udil. Chan gets a few of the kills. Chibi now with a Finch Boy trying to go for maybe, possibly another Maniac. Chibi going to be forced to respect that damage. Nets dashing forward, sliding tackle right into Chan, but he does have that Brilliance to escape once again. HomeBois very low. Marquinhos goes for the Earth Shatter, but Chan doesn't have the Chaos Assault, not anymore. He has Onward, goes in. Marquinhos decimated here, and Chan's going to be next in the chopping block as Nets jumps in all the way, picks up a few of those turret shots, and finally Chibi shuts him down, shutting the dreams of Entity 7 as they qualify to the main stage of MSC.
And HomeBois will do it, only losing one game throughout the entire wild card here as they move on forward. to join the teams for the group stage here. A great showing, though, from Entity 7. You got to give it up to them making waves, making people that doubted them to get to this point. They managed to get here, and they put on a good show for the grand final, but ultimately HomeBois, with their the play style they have, man, the decisiveness that comes through, and the fact that now, again, a Ling in game number 4, just monstrous here for HomeBois as they get ready. Again, a good preview of what we saw. What do we got going on here? We got some signatures, of course, going out.
What's this?
What is this?
I think it might be like a signature to participate in main stage. I don't know.
You gotta sign your way now to the group stage.
I guess they've officially made it to the Esports World Cup MSC, so there you go. A few signatures from some of the players, or all of the players rather, here. Udil gonna sign as well there. You guys want to copy those signatures? I'm joking. You guys can see it there, but you can see they've all qualified. They've made it to the main stage. HomeBois welcome them to Group C, together with Team Spirit, Twisted Minds, and Liquid Echo.
Can't wait to see them, man. Of course, in the group stage, it was great to see how they adjusted to the current kind of meta forming here, of course, throughout the wildcard stage. And like I said, Entity 7 was the only team to go ahead and give them that loss. And I feel like even some of these games, even if you look at the highlights here, Entity 7 had some good moments throughout the entire series. Not just in this game, not just in the game that they won against HomeBois, but they had some really good moments against a team like this, which, again, you got to consider the fact that the team of Entity 7 coming together before their league started, and relatively still, an up-and-coming region that has a very distinctive play style, but unfortunately for them, against a team like HomeBois, who has gone through the ringer time and time again in Malaysia, is now here, and very great decisive victory for them in this series. But again, big shout-outs to Entity 7 getting to the grand final here, making it through all the wild things that they had to get through during their group stage, going undefeated. And, at the end of the day, one team only gets to go forward to the main event, to the group stage here. So, great to hear. I'm really wondering, for HomeBois specifically, how it feels to have this kind of meta for, I think it really favors them, The Spicy Kage is back.
Oh,
MSC 2019 champion returns for more. 2019, wow.
2019. Back then, that was the Kage era, as you can see, with Sasa, Psycho, Drian, and Anti-Mage. Obviously, with Udil as the spicy boy. Didn't lose a single match.
What was 2019 again? Was that the Philippines?
What? Yeah, it was in the Philippines, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy, man. That's the first event I ever watched in person.
Oh.
As a viewer.
There you go. And
yeah,
it's crazy to see that, it took him so long to be back where he got that championship trophy, MSC 2019, but Udil, the veteran, and now we're seeing him back. It just definitely feels good to see a veteran like Udil to make it back to where he once was able to lift the trophy.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, what this, with HomeBois coming in, and I'm sure you guys have been sharing your thoughts all very constructively in the chat, throughout all this, for HomeBois especially. I think a lot of people naturally thought, as we got ready for the wild card stage, that they were like, all right, HomeBois has a good chance at moving forward. But I think even, as they went through this, they were tested. I'd say they were actually
Game 2, 1-1?
Tested, yeah, 1-1. They were tested pretty good against Entity 7, and I think really it comes down to now that they've locked in their spot, it's like, all right, how will they do against their group, and how will they do against everybody waiting for them in the group stages here for the Mid-Season Cup? And again, let us know what you guys think about the broadcast here by scanning that QR on the screen. We do appreciate your guys' feedback. It helps us make things, of course, better here, because that's what we all are about, making the best experience for you guys viewing around the world, and even for us here involved. We got a lot of people showing up in Riyadh today, I would say. Shout out to all our friends flying in. Of course, all the teams, the staff, the other talents from other languages and everything else. And also, shout out to you guys, because right now you can join the battle within and grab these amazing skins. The new lineup. It's Amon and Hanabi, his favorite.
No, yeah, I mean, no, I don't know. Amon's Amwawa's favorite, so he's definitely going to go and buy it. 7th of July, go ahead and get ready for it, because also, for you guys out there who's more of like, all right, man, Amon's cool, but he's an assassin.
I want a mage.
Nabi's cool, but she's a marksman. I want a mage.
Juicin.
You can go for, as Nice calls her,
Juicin.
Juicin. Go ahead and check out Juicin, Beacon of Spirits. I believe, you know, the new Wishing Lantern?
Yeah, it's hers, right?
That's hers, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to utilize
Juicin
in your games, go ahead and pick it up. I won't even try to pronounce it like Nisu, because I think that was just perfect.
Okay, let all the people around the world know. What's the proper way to say it?
Juicin. Like you said, Juicin.
No, that's not right. You told me something different.
All right, I think it's supposed to be Juicin, right?
Juicin?
Juicin.
All right, well.
But that might be wrong, too.
Trex told me wrong. Trex
said juicing, too?
Trex said juicing. So I just followed Trex, man.
Juicing.
All right.
Juicing.
You guys let us know. I mean,
like the juicing.
I'm sure you guys in the comments, you probably know better than us sitting here. But, hey, I know we're not going to see her for Mid-Season Cup. But I do want to see eventually if she fits into whatever meta we find ourselves with these mid lane heroes or the mage heroes by the time we get to our future tournaments. But right now we have to, of course, focus on the Mid-Season Cup. And I would say even with or without Juicin being a part of it, I'm happy. I hope you guys are too, and in the agreement of Wildcard, that you got to see a lot of unique heroes being picked up. A lot of even, let's say it's the same Roger or, you know, mostly Roger, but let's say even for the Ling, you see some variations in build paths.
Yeah, some people want to go Warcry, some people still go for QC. You see an instant Sky Piercer for some, you see the Berserker's Fury. Sometimes you don't even see the Sky Piercer.
Yeah, it's actually true. And, you know, it's weird because Sky Piercer is in a weird position for me still. Like, I'm not sure if I absolutely, like, love it yet. Or if
what
I
do you
just
play
hate it.
usually? You're a mage, right? So you hate
I'm a
it.
mage, so like...
You're a gore player. You hate it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a marksman too, and to be fair, I also hate it. But when I play jungle, I love it.
Yeah, because imagine, okay, you have an item literally where you get that execute when it hits that threshold.
Yeah.
Where's the item like that for mages? All we got was the Wishing Lantern. That's 10%, by the way, of current HP.
Well,
That's
you know, just be an assassin, bro. It ain't that hard. Be a burst hero, bro.
All right, so what you're saying is I should play Gord in the jungle.
You should just
Warcry.
You shouldn't
Sky
play.
Piercer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, maybe you go with the Warcry. Maybe Temporal Rain. Nah, that sucks for going.
Hey, his cooldowns are already low enough on the first skill,
Yeah.
man. You know, I don't think I need to be gushing for lower cooldowns.
Well, I guess, you know, if you're usually like a one rotation kind of like hero, right?
Yeah.
Technically, if you use that Mystic Gush after the Mystic Projectile, once you're done, you're like, you know what? The guy's on me. I have another Mystic Projectile. Boom.
I don't know if it works like that.
I
you
don't
know?
think so. I don't think it works that way.
But I will say this, and I know we share the same kind of thought. I'm happy with what we saw in the wild cards. Even before this, leading into MSC 2024, the changes that this patch brought has really shook things up. And what I look forward to in the group stages is, are we actually going to see some Lord dances, man? Because so far we have not. I don't know.
Not at all on the wild card.
I don't know what's going on here because so far, you know, we have had maybe a couple 20-minute games. 20 plus. I don't think anything over 25, maybe, you know? So for the most part, I'm really wondering, how does this change things for us going forward when so many teams out there, and I'm sure you guys can think of the teams that they love their Lord dances. They love their, you know how for the longest time we were like, you know, I'm pretty sure we were part of this debate too, where it's like, you know, that utility game, that Lord dance takes a certain type of IQ to pull off.
Are you a fan of the utility game or are you not?
You know, I am. Like, and it's not just because I'm from the region that loves it.
All right.
Like, I am. I think those extend fights and everything are great. You know?
I think so too. You know who I think is great too?
Who? Zorn.
Mr. Zorn. On
Mr.
the show.
Zorn.
I'm glad that we finally get to see it because every time I see Zorn play, I'm just like, all right, when is he going to play Cho? Right? And especially considering, you know, Cho just got buffed. This hero just got buffed. In a way, some people don't like it. You know, some people don't like the Ji Kundom now having more range because it's a bit different. Now you can't be charging it up in the bush all the time. You actually get a chance to jump over some of these bushes really easily. But Zorn still makes it work. He finds a way. This is his signature pick. And he actually went for Thrill. Usually, I think for Cho's, you go for the Concussive Blast, and I think you go for The Wilderness Blessing, yeah. But there are a lot of differences for that first emblem. A lot of people still go for firmness too, for additional tankiness. Some people go for agility. But now with the changes, it makes sense to go for thrill. You get the passive proc so many times, and Zorn was just amazing that game, huh? He was like the TP king and all.
He was. Zorn was the TP king, and, you know, they made things really just work here. And I would love to eventually, you know, hear his thoughts, or someone from HomeBois, of course, to see what they have to say, you know, about all this. Because one thing's for sure, man, with the lineup that they had for HomeBois, I think the great thing about it is it's led also by Zorn. A lot of the kind of decisions they make, and maybe that's just the fact that he has a passive. Like I said, he's got a passive himself to kind of deal with, you know, bringing in a lot of the teams to attack and everything else. I think that's a big game plan for them. Looking at the group stage teams here, you're going to see where things all fell into place. HomeBois going to Group C. Now we have our completed lineup of teams going about this. And HomeBois especially, with this lineup, hey, I see, you know, a very familiar team there. And I'm wondering how they'll fit up against this newly adjusted Liquid Echo against them.
I think what's cool to see as well is the fact that for HomeBois, right, in their group, Group B, they were able to beat Brute Force. And, hey, now they already tasted EECA, technically. They were able to get that win. Now they're up against a champion of that region and Team Spirit. And, like you said, Liquid Echo. We'll see if Zorn and the boys will be able to do it, the HomeBois.
HomeBois.
Because it seems like we have someone here with us.
Well, we do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Zorn. Zorn, welcome, man. Welcome to the English desk. I know you're going to be speaking all fluent English for us, but right off the bat, Zorn, you know, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on moving forward.
Thank you so much.
You were in MSC 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I got to ask you, how are you feeling now that you've locked in that last slot?
Wow, I'm feeling so excited to be here again, because last time I was trying to enter the MSC but failed. So right now I'm feeling so excited to prove what our potential for this MSC.
All right, man. I feel like at this point, right, you've gone through the wild card already. You went through what looked to be, you know, it was Group B was a group of death.
Yeah.
Most people thought, all right, this group is
Kinda.
the worst group possible for any team in the wild card. But you made it through. You know, it looked like you made it look easy, man. But what do you think of the wild card in general, right? Your path to achieving the main stage spot, how was it for you? Was it hard? Was it easy in the end? Was it brutal?
I
Simple?
think,
Legendary?
It's kind of easy for us because I feel the one that make us feel a little bit hard is ourselves, maybe. Because I think if we can overcome our discipline and then our aggression, it feels like we can compete in MSC.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you guys are really going to be competitive in your group ahead of you guys, Zorn. I got to ask you, too, a little personal question here, because I understand that your family is with you.
Yeah.
Your wife
my
and your baby.
and my wife.
Yep, they're here with you. How does that feel? Does that is that like a buff for you here now that you're competing, of course? Like, how do you feel about that?
Of course, yes. Because of them coming here, I feel like I want to prove to them also, because they come so far to see me
compete
and win.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, they're going to be proud of your win here
I'm really
tonight,
proud.
especially. Yeah. Hopefully they can keep giving you that buff moving forward into the group stage. And real quick, too, how are you? Have you had a chance to see Riyadh at all, or you just been training, you know, in the hotel or spending time with your family?
For now, I think I just see Riyadh when coming to here.
Coming from the plane. How do you like the food?
Experienced it.
But the food was really on top. So good.
So everything so far is amazing for you. You know, you got the win as well. But, you know, okay, you said wildcard was a bit easy for you. The hard part was, you know, facing yourself, trying to conquer your own demons. But for MSC, now you know you're placed into Group C with one of the tournament favorites as well in Liquid Echo. We got Twisted Minds, and we got Team Spirit. So, what are your thoughts on that, man? For, you know, your group in particular, and
now I can say that it's kind of tough for the group, for our group, because we all know Echo was so strong at Philippines, and then Team Spirit also champion on their tournament. But I guess we also can give some tough some challenge for them to give some good game. But I guess if we keep confident and then overcome our aggression and then play with the team, I feel like we can beat them also.
Okay, you didn't mention Twisted Minds there, so those two are tough. Twisted Mind. What about Twisted Minds? No,
I heard about them.
You heard about them?
I heard about them.
Okay.
It's kind of scary also.
Scary. All right. Do you have a message to all of them or anyone in particular, like
Twisted Mind?
Group C. Anyone in Group C?
I think for Twisted Mind only because last time I saw their potential. So for Twisted Mind, I guess now our turn to show you to you.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
There you go. We got some spice.
Got some spice.
King. You were TPing all around, by the way.
Because last time you said what?
Nah, exactly. So I told him, I personally requested, bro, what? You play like last time in the group B, it was like, where's the TP King? That was more like a TP man. Now you definitely showed us that you were a TP King, bro.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Congratulations again. Real quick, Zorn, before we kind of let you go and close things out here, it is understood that Daddyhood, I believe, did have to go home. And for the Flame Boys as well. Do you have any message to Daddyhood and the Flame Boys?
Yeah, I have. For Malay, kan? Malay?
Yep, go ahead.
So untuk Flame Boys dan Daddyhood dan juga semua orang yang menonton kita orang dan menyokong kita orang, terima kasih banyak untuk korang punya sokongan dan doa korang daripada Malaysia tu. Itulah yang menyebabkan kita orang boleh lepas sampai ke MSC. Aku berharap korang teruskan menyokong kita orang dan juga Flame Boys dan juga Daddyhood. Kita doakan agar Daddyhood punya kesihatan, isterinya baik saja. So terima kasih guys.
Do you want to translate?
Yeah, so basically to all the Flame Boys and to Daddyhood and everybody watching and supporting Zorn and HomeBois, thank you so much for the support, because that support was what helped them qualify to the main stage of MSC to take this wild card the way that they did in a dominant run. And also special message to Daddyhood. Hopefully, all is good with the health conditions and everything. And yeah, that's it. He just feels like for all the supporters, HomeBois, Flame Boys, everyone, keep supporting in the main stage. It'll help them.
All right, that's. I think that's going to go ahead and conclude it here for us. Again, Zorn, congratulations on locking in the slot. You guys look amazing, very dominant, and that's going to be it for here for the wild card stage, guys. We have completed all the teams now going to face off in the group stage for the Mid-Season Cup 2024 here at the EWC. It's Mirko, it's Zorn, it's Naisu. We'll see you guys in the group stage.
Here we go.